1, 2, 1, 2. Oh, I put batteries in yours?
Yeah, you did. It didn't have no batteries.
It must not be on the right way. Microphone check, microphone check. Huh? We'll use this right now. It's on right now. I switched it up. Yeah, it's on right now. Huh?
How you get to the Passover?
How did we get to Passover?
I know it's by the moon.
Oh, man. Oh, Jesus. JB.
Still ain't got that part.
Okay. All right, so we're going to give it open up right quick. Like everybody, face Jerusalem. For those that online, sisters, please cover your head. Brothers, cover your head, and we're going to go and give it open up. All right, you can go ahead, brother.
Our Father which art in heaven,
Our Father, which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come,
thy will be done in earth,
thy will be done in earth,
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day
Give us this day
our daily bread,
our daily bread,
and forgive us of our debts,
and forgive us our debts,
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
For thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory,
and the glory,
forever.
forever.
In Jesus' name we pray.
In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen. JB, you got to give me a second to get my mental juices flowing. give me about 30 minutes. About 30 minutes. You got something? Anybody got anything in house? Ain't nothing online right now. Yeah, I got to wake my mind up now. You go ahead. You go grab the broom. Or the ladder. I got to push that light up. Go ahead, bro. The mic on? Okay. You can take it off if you need to talk in it.
No, I'm good, man.
Okay.
We was having a discussion about haircuts. They say you shouldn't be shaved. Something about balding your head or something like that.
Right.
So I was trying to see what was he saying exactly on that, or he was saying no cutting at all.
Okay. Okay, let's go look at it. Let's go check it out. Leviticus chapter 21. Well, let's go to 19 first. Leviticus chapter 19. I was just getting over it. Y'all gonna bring it back up too, boy. God, I gotta revisit it. Nah, dude messed up my hair yesterday, man. Messed my hair up. He almost cut my doggone beard off. I wanted to beat that dude. No, I told dude to point my sideburns up. He went to point down and started pulling my beard off. And I was like,
Fair on the side.
yeah, man.
see it.
He messed me up, bruh. I'm gonna hit you.
Oh, it's down there.
Oh my God, bro! This ain't even my barber. My barber for 12 years ain't been there, cause his wife has got heart problems. So I'm just like right around the city trying to find a barber. And I've been going to their barber. Man, they charge $25.
Yeah, he's
I was
ridiculous.
charging 15. Bro. That's all I've been paying for 12 years. And straight rate. These guys,
Oh, man.
they.
Hey, JC got a free handout.
I'm tired of it, bro. I'm finna booger with them. I'm still living my head, bro. Until I go get them, I ain't trying. I mean, I know I cut my own, but I don't want to do that. Okay, I think that's enough. Which one of them? That's the one I asked.
Yeah, that one right there.
Yeah. Okay. can't show too like. Yeah, they carry away, man. The price is going up.
Walk was like $30.
It don't make no sense, man. They don't use straight razor, man. They don't put no straight razor. Then when they do, they don't put shaving cream on. I'm like, man. All right. Okay, so Leviticus chapter 19, regarding, let's go to Leviticus 19. We're going to pick this up at verse 27. Leviticus 19, verse 27. All right, go and read that.
Ye shall not round the corners of your heads, neither shalt thou mar the corners of thy beard. Ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you.
Right, so right here it say you ain't gonna round the corners of your heads, neither shall thou mar the corners of thy beard. So it's like you're gonna need that beard on your face. It don't necessarily have to be thick or nothing like that, but you need that hair on your face, you know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, what we at again?
Leviticus 19, 27.
Okay, thank
And
you.
then it say you ain't gonna round the corners of your heads. And from what I understand, that was like a certain way they would do it back in Egypt, you know what I'm saying? Like they would actually, I think, take some sharp objects and actually do that, where it make it permanent. So he told us, he said, you should not round the corners of your heads, neither shall thou mar the corners of thy beard. So you're going to leave a beard destroyed. But so you look at corners, you look at corner, you know what I'm saying? That's almost like a corner, so you're going to need your beard on your face. You know what I'm saying? That's how I kind of see it, because I kind of see how things kind of change up. Like you got a corner here, you come here, the hairline stop, and just start off with the beard right here. Come right there to the side, that's the corner right there. You know what I'm saying? So we just have to keep a beard on our face. You know what I'm saying? But now let's go to Leviticus 21. So you need to have your beard. Now I ain't say it got to be super thick or nothing like that, but you need your hair on your face. If you can grow your beard out, let it grow.
Oh, no, it's all in mind, grow right now. But
I'm saying in general.
Right.
Just people online. I'm looking at the camera.
Oh.
So if you can grow your beard out. Don't cut it off. Now, as far as this right here, let's see who this is talking about. Leviticus 21. Pick this up at verse 5. Leviticus 21 and verse 5. Go ahead.
They shall not make baldness upon their head, neither shall they shave off the corner of their beard, nor make any cuttings in their flesh.
Okay, so now this right here is not going to be the same, though. It's not going to be the same as you and I, because it's talking to the priest. That's why you look at verse 1, read verse 1, what it say?
And the Lord said unto Moses, Speak unto the priests, the sons of Aaron,
Right.
and say unto them, There shall none be defiled for the dead among his people.
Keep reading, what else to say?
But for his skin, that is near unto him, that is for his mother, and for his father, and for his son, and for his daughter, and for his brother.
Read verse 5 again.
They shall not make baldness upon their heads.
So who we talking about?
Priest.
Leviticus.
Talking about who?
Is that Leviticus priesthood? Or
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only type of priesthood you got.
All right.
Right. So right here, he said, Lord speaking to Moses, verse 1, speak unto the priests, the sons of Aaron, right? And that's who you're talking about as far as like balding their heads and stuff. See that? Two different, he gave us one. He told us don't, round the corners of our head. You know what I'm saying? And then you have some people, even with brothers just like have problem with their hair period, they'll cut it off. You know what I'm saying? Because some people may start losing hair. You know what I'm saying? So, but right here we see it's talking to the priest though.
Oh, okay.
All right.
But the first one was
In general, Israel as a whole.
So I guess you can bald your head if you're Israelite man.
Yeah, it don't say not to.
Yes.
Yeah, it don't say not to. So, yeah, because like we just read it, it just say don't round the corners of your head. You know what I'm saying? Like, Like however that mean. Like I don't even know what that mean. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know what he mean. I'm assuming like if you got a shape up, man, like you need to have a shape up. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know. I just from what I understand, the way Africans did it back in the day. You know how they messed up. They Lord telling us not to do it. So, but I think they were doing it actually like permanent.
So it was
If
like
I'm not
cutting
mistaken.
into the flesh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
With those objects, from what I understand. So if that's the case, don't do that. But he turned right around Leviticus 25 and told you not to bald your hair, right? So that leads me to believe that, okay, well, he could have pointed it out also in Leviticus 19. For the people in general, if he didn't want us to bald our heads, he would have said that. You get what I'm saying? Like he would have addressed that. When it got to the priest, he told them, look, don't you bald your head. So that lets me know there was a difference between us and them. You get what I'm saying? So I guess it'd be safe to say it's okay.
For example, you can't ball yours, but he can ball his because you're the priest. So
Huh? I ain't no son of Aaron. right. Remember Paul? But I'm saying, remember Paul? He was from the tribe of Benjamin. He was preaching too, wasn't he? Jesus was from the tribe of Judah. So he talking about actual sons that are from Aaron. I don't know who I'm from. You get what I'm saying? I don't have no idea. Like, I don't know who I'm from. You Levi today, nigga. Your mama call you Levi. I'm gonna call you Levi. And that's right, I got you. But now let's so we're gonna get to JB. I'm kind of warmed up to it in a second. I gotta get these mental juices flowing. So we got a question online. Anything else in the house though?
I got another one.
Come on. Cause we try to get two of them in house.
Anybody else got none?
This thing about Moses back in the day, and he said that his father-in-law, Zipporah's dad, was a minister, a priest. What was they teaching? Because Jesus hadn't came, he was there, but he wasn't really on the scene. And they said her father was a priest.
Priest of Midian.
And I was trying to see what was they teaching.
I haven't really seen it say anything about what he was teaching. Honestly, to be honest with you, I even questioned like what was he
A priest. He said he's
a priest of? I was thinking, well, maybe priest mean more than one thing. I mean, that's just what I thought because I know we the one that was dealing with that. You get what I'm saying? Right. So that's a great question, man. Let me go look and see though. Let's see if we can find something on that. All right, so let's go to Exodus chapter 2, and we're gonna look at verse 16. Well, let's start Exodus 2 and verse 16. Man, priest had to mean something else, man, because it even called Potiphar the priest of On.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So it had to mean something. I'm not gonna say for sure, but man,
He's like an elder of the village or something. Or?
That's somebody that probably represent that particular community or something like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Let me just see. Let me look in this definition. Let me see what another name of priest is. Oh, okay. It says literally one officiating. Then it says a priest, an acting priest, a chief ruler. You know what I'm saying? A principal officer. You see what I'm saying? So that would make more sense. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm trying. When I look at read verse 16 for me. Exodus 2 and 6. We'll start at verse 15.
Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian. And he sat down by a well. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away.
Right, but that's where you get it from. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters. So that's what it kind of leads me to believe. That's why I look at that definition right there. And like I said, it says literally one officiating, a priest, an acting priest, a chief ruler, or a priest, prince, or principal officer. You know what I'm saying? So you know, I lean more toward that right there until I find out otherwise. You know what I'm saying? I just couldn't see them. I couldn't see them dealing with anything pertaining to the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Because go look at Genesis 41 right quick. Genesis chapter 41. And if you can, JB, look at the app. Look up an app. I can't remember what it is. Apps that give you the latitude and longitude. And look at the latitude and longitude of Israel and also Atlanta. All right, read that from Rashad.
Genesis 41, where you want me to start verse 1?
Yeah.
Okay. And it came to pass at the end of the 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood.
Hold on. What?
You said Genesis 40.
Genesis what?
41.
41, 45?
Oh, I said verse 1, my bad.
Yeah, my bad. Genesis 41, verse 45.
And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zephaniah, and he gave him to a wife, Asenath, and the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On.
Oh, so you see that, right? So he gave him the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, but these are Egyptians.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know what though? That makes sense though. Because it's actually identifying the location. It didn't say priest of the Most High God. It say priest of On or priest of Midian. So it just let me know they had some position where they were actually representing these particular locations. That'd be the Holy Spirit right there, boy. Thank you, Jesus. Golly, that'd be the Holy Spirit. Man, wow. Right, they represented those particular areas. Okay. All right, so now let's move online right quick. And it said, who are the 2 witnesses, right? In short, to answer that, the Bible don't tell you who the 2 witnesses are. But who we can tell you that they are not. They will not be Moses, and they will not be Elijah. Did I shut the door? Did I shut it all the way? Yeah, it's open.
You should.
Oh, okay. This is off. All right. I guess I sat down before. All right, so let's see here. I just got comfortable. We gotta super glue this thing on here, man. This right here. I know what I need to do. I need to take it out. Appreciate it. Okay, go to Revelation chapter 11. Let's look at this. But it's not Elijah, it's not Enoch, it's not Moses, because those are some of the things that are being said, but it's not these guys. So let's look at, let's go to 11 and I think around
3.
verse. Where you at? What did you say, 13?
I said 3.
3?
Yeah, it says, and I will give power unto my 2 witnesses.
Okay. All right. Well, matter of fact, yeah, start at 3 for me.
And I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days.
Okay, so this is where these 2 witnesses come about, but it's almost like we talk a lot about the Lord not necessarily doing things so different when you compare it to what was done in Egypt. back then he had two people that represented him, one being Moses, the other being Aaron. So he had representation back then, and Pharaoh had his particular, his sorcerers and magicians and stuff like that represented him. So once we get down to the end of the world, it's gonna be almost the same thing all over again, but the Lord gonna have his two witnesses that represent him. Now it doesn't say who, but we know that they're gonna have power to do several different things. So he said, look, I will give power unto my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days clothed in sackcloth. So this is this is the time frame of the Great Tribulation, and they're gonna be around. But skip down to verse. Keep reading. You found it, JB? You was able to find something?
I found that.
All right. How they kind of close?
Israel and Atlanta?
Yeah. They shouldn't be that far off. But go and read that.
These are the two olive trees and the two candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth and devoureth their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in his manner be killed.
Okay, so now, if you look at what it says here, right? It says, they first off, nobody can be able to hurt them. If any man hurt them, fire proceed out of their mouth. So they're going to have some power, right? They're going to devour their enemies. If any man hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. But what else? What else power they got? What does it say in verse 6?
These have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them to blood.
So y'all see that? Like, look at all this power they're going to have. It's almost like you looking back, almost similar to what was going on back during the days of when we came out of Egypt the first time. They had some power back then. Moses and Aaron had power to do certain things. And that's why eventually it got to a point where, these magicians, they couldn't even match up now because God has started getting involved in this particular, inside the affairs of man. God has started getting involved. And even the Pharaoh's Egyptians, they knew it. They was like, yeah, we can't get with this, man. This is something else right here. But now that we down to the end of the world, same thing gonna happen again. They gonna have, these two witnesses gonna have power. Another name they're called, the Bible considers them. It says these are the two olive trees and two candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. And then keep reading, because this is one way we can prove that it's not gonna be Enoch. And second off, it ain't gonna be Moses. And it ain't gonna be Elijah, because Moses and Elijah are dead. Enoch is not dead. All right, but he done already got translated for him not to see death. So this definitely can't fit him. But go on and read, what does it say?
And to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast ascended out of the bottomless pit,
Keep reading.
shall make war against them, and shall overcome them, and kill them, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which the spiritual is called Sodom and Egypt.
Okay, and if you look at that, the world is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, because really we up under, it's like we up in Egypt, a worldwide Egypt this time. You know what I'm saying? But you still see the same thing that was going on during the days of Egypt. Sodom, same characteristics going on, stuff like that. However, though, you see in verse 8 that these guys gonna get killed, ain't they? You know what I'm saying? So that would mean that Moses would have to be alive. And based on Mark chapter 9, Moses is dead. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, that's what the Lord has showed. Nate, I think it's kind of ringing in this. Nate, I think it's kind of like a ringing. I think we got to bring that one down just a little bit. Not much, just a little bit. But so when the Lord had showed Peter them and a few, I think it might have been 2 or 3 other disciples with him, he showed him Moses in the kingdom. Gave him a vision. You know what I'm saying? So he is dead, man. That's why what's name was trying to, they was trying to fight over Moses' body. You know what I'm saying? That means he dead. So if this would fit Moses, like some people say, he would have to be alive, and then he's gonna have to die again. That don't make sense. Elijah would have to be alive and die, I mean, okay, look at Moses. He dead, come alive, die again. Elijah dead, he come alive and die again. That wouldn't make sense. These two witnesses gonna have to be somebody from among us. You understand? It's going just like it was back then. It's gonna have to be somebody from among us. Now I don't know who it is. You know what I'm saying? And I pray. I ain't gonna say that. I just pray I get to the wilderness. Put it that way. That's all I say. Because I don't want to see death, period. At all. I don't care. I know things are getting bad, but I ain't got to that point where I feel like Job yet. You know what I'm saying? When Job said, hide him in the grave till your wrath be passed. You know, and I don't. But then again, you know, hey, the brothers who have this particular job, you know, you got a solid shot to the king.
That's what I be hearing people say. They don't want to be there, but they got.
So I think I'm changing my mind. Yeah, I think I might change my mind on that one. I don't know, but what would you do though? Like if it came down to running to the wilderness and staying back, and I know I can get to the wilderness, I think I'm gonna run to the wilderness. If I know I can get in the wilderness.
But you know you could be one of these right here. Which one would you take?
If I know I can get to the wilderness,
and you know you can be one of these,
if you know
one of the
you're
witnesses,
or you know you can get. Is he saying, do you know that you're the witness, or you just saying, well, maybe I might be?
Oh no, I wouldn't know. If I know I'm a witness, I ain't got no choice. I'm doing my job.
Okay.
But if I'm saying if I got a choice, like, okay, which one you want to be? You want to be this one, or I'm going to the wilderness? Because there's a very high probability I ain't got to die at all. You know what I'm saying? Because we get to the wilderness, we good 3.5 years, and our Savior coming. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, more than likely our next move from there is immortality. We get to fight with God. You know what I'm saying?
Be there what 3 days?
Who? These guys right here?
Yeah.
They'll be there for 3 days. Yeah.
isn't it? Is that 3 literal days?
Oh yeah. That's 3. Yeah, it's 3 little days. Yeah.
So you be all right?
No, you'll be all right.
Listen,
how you gonna die? Right. You would be all right.
It's like if you die for the word of God, you know you're gonna get the kingdom. But
Yeah,
how you gonna die?
right.
It might torture you.
You died. Yeah, time for the word of God.
I
Yeah.
can only imagine.
All right.
You're gonna be been a nuisance to this guy for a long time.
Yeah, they sure is.
They finally get a chance to kill him.
They probably gonna stretch it out.
They gonna be
You
done.
pulling fingernails off. You gonna put one off at a
Just
time.
like if you get caught. They
Yeah.
gonna torture you like the same
Yeah.
way.
And you know they have no shortage of torturing people.
Right.
They have different ways to do it. But he gonna be in the they will die, and like I say, they would have to actually, if it's gonna be Moses, Elijah, or even Enoch would have to be alive all this time and then die, then get back up. So he can't fit this. It would have, like I say, it's more likely to have to be somebody from among us. You know what I'm saying? That'll be one of these two witnesses. But let's go back to the Old Testament. Let's go to I think Zechariah 6, if I'm not mistaken. Zechariah 6. But you know, just the mindset of us having a conversation like this, man, it just show how like the Lord like really open up our understanding to the word, cause people can't even have that type of conversation. Like we play about like, man, I don't want to beat them, but most people in the world don't even know about, like don't even understand this. Like we have, like these conversations to us is easy and light, but to the world it's like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? But like, you get what I'm saying? Like, but that's the blessing that the Lord, you know, poured out on us, that we can even understand this type of stuff, you know. Is Zechariah 4 verse 6?
Yeah, 12 really, verse 12. But I think you started.
Zechariah, you say 4 and 12? Yes, you're right, absolutely. Start at verse 11, right? Yeah, start at verse 11. Go ahead and read that.
Then answered I, and said unto him, What are these 2 olive trees upon the right side of the candlestick, and upon the left side?
All right, so we got these in the Old Testament. They call 2 olive trees. Say, then answered I and said, What are these 2 olive trees upon the right side of the candlestick and upon the left side thereof? What else?
And I answered again,
and said unto him, What be these 2 olive branches, which through the 2 golden pipes empty the golden oil out of themselves? And he answered me and said, Knowest thou not what these be? And I said, No, my Lord. Then said he, These are the 2 anointed ones that stand by the Lord of the whole earth.
So this would be the same ones, of the Lord's 2 witnesses. The same exact ones. These are the 2 anointed ones that stand by the Lord of the whole earth, but they're not going to come around until the end of the world. But like I said, it won't be those guys we mentioned, Moses and Elijah or Enoch. But that's what some people like to say, and that's not the case. All right, so let's go look at one more line. That's east though. All right, let's see. Okay, what are the rules, standards for asking a woman's family permission to marry her if the father is not in her life? There's a lot of possibilities there. Trying to see who would be. I mean, nowadays, man, the guy just asks the woman. If you're in the Word, you try to do things respectful as possible. I think it would be respectful, to ask the mother, if they're not of age. Nowadays when put it this way, if they're in the Word, I would try to do it, according to the Word. Like, I still would get that mother respect if the father's not around, but it's like if people ain't in the Word, man, they kind of look at you like you crazy. Because there was a situation even with my sister-in-law, and Brother Cephas, and there was only so much I can do being her brother-in-law, to try to make sure things was done right. But some things I would have to reach out to, Cena's father about. But her being 24, 25 years of age and they not really understanding the Word like that, it really wasn't doing nothing. It really wasn't helping. So that's a really tough, really tough way to kind of deal with it when people not in the Word, because you still want to do right by everybody. So you can go ask the mother, and they may just look at you, oh baby, we don't care, it's fine, as long as you love her. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how the world look at stuff, you know what I'm saying? Or if somebody's in the Word, then, you pay those respects. You know what I'm saying? Go talk to the mother, because ultimately she's the one that's taking care of her, so she would have to agree to that, I would think. I haven't dealt with that. I don't know anybody who had to deal with that, but I just think out of showing respect, which it may not even be a problem, if it's in the Word, they see you serving God and you trying to be respectful. But I know different situations. Matter of fact, let's go look at Genesis 16, and let's look at what Sarah did when it came to Hagar. Genesis 16, start at verse 1 for me, brother.
Now Sarah, Abram's wife, bare him no children, and she had a handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abram, Behold now, the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarah.
Okay, so now we see here, we see Sarah had a little bit of, first off, Hagar was her handmaid, right? And she told Abraham to take Hagar, her handmaid, but that's where you see Sarah agreeing to allow Abraham to do that because she couldn't bear no children. So in all situations, a lot of situations, you see agreements being made. That was one right there being made. But the father wasn't around, was he? Father wasn't there. Like, where's Hagar's father? He wasn't there, was he? But you see, Sarah is giving Abraham that permission to take Hagar. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. You still can pay those respects, even to the mother. If the father ain't around, you still can pay those respects. You can go to her and say, hey, based on what I see, the father not here, is it okay if I marry your daughter? You know what I'm saying? Because you see it being done by a woman here, right? So the circumstance you presented, like I said, I would try to still pay respects or by the next person in line. If we trying to, do things the right way, just keep it respectable. I would try to do that. Let's go look at Genesis 30 right quick. Genesis chapter 30. And let's pick this up. Skip down to verse. Let's come up to start at verse 1. Start at verse 1. Go ahead, brother.
And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel invited her sister and said unto Jacob.
Wait, slow down. Read that again for me.
Okay. And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied Rachel envied her sister and said unto Jacob, Give me children, or else I die.
y'all see this, right? Y'all see how important it was back then? Nowadays, man, these sisters women be killing their children, having abortions and stuff, man. Like, they took pride in this stuff, and that's what Israel getting back to now. Mentality-wise, getting back to looking at having children as a joy. But she was like, look, man. She was jealous of her sister. Like, you can give me some children or else I'm going to die. I can't live without some kids, man. And my sister, she tripping. She got kids and I ain't got none. So what happened? Verse 2.
And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel. And he said, Am I in God's stead?
All right, so he like, look. He upset. He like, look, man. I cannot take the place of God. Whatever he decide, that's on him. And mine God said what?
Who have withheld from thee the fruit of thy womb?
Right, so I can't take God's place. God is one who have withheld you from having children. But go ahead.
And she said, Behold, my mom, Baali.
Slow down, brother.
Okay, my apologies. And she said, Behold, my maid, Baali, Bilhah, go in unto her.
Look at that, though. Where the father at, though? Father ain't there. He said, look, and she said, Behold, my maid, go in unto her. So you got an agreement right there. Like, she is agreeing to give her handmaid to Jacob. You see what I'm saying? So it ain't like the agreement can't be made without the father around. You know what I'm saying? Like you can ask the mother, like, ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Especially we trying to keep things respectful. Some people may not understand it. It may seem weird. You know, the people like a friend of mine asked me when JB asked me about, you know, taking my daughter's hand in marriage. And my friend, Gentile friend, he was like, I told him, I say, well, him and my daughter, you know, getting married, he asked me could he marry. He was like, well, is she gonna say yeah? I said yeah. Like, it don't matter. I said yeah. I agreed with him. You understand what I'm saying? You know, but that's why I say some people don't understand how we do things. You know, but you just want to try to do it as best you can. You know what I'm saying? So it wouldn't be wrong for the brother or the person online to go ask the next person in line, is it okay if I marry your daughter? It ain't gonna hurt nothing, you know what I'm saying? But it may make you feel better as a person, you know, trying to do things right. Cause you don't want, you know, I think once we come into the world, we feel like we just don't want to bogart and do things the way we used to do. You know what I'm saying? We want to do things right. So if the father's not in the way, we want to try to do it the best we can. Okay, let's go talk to the mother. Then then the next person ain't in line. Look, just relax. If the grandma in line, the granddad in line, it's more likely that in the case. Or the brother, I don't know. When you start getting outside the word of God, like I say, they don't see things the way we do. You know, that sister may be in the word, you know, and then sometimes you have brothers at the church that's kind of like a head over her. Not like a head where he gonna tell her what to do, but like a head where we be scoping out the brother like, yeah, that brother dealing with the word. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, he dealing with the word. Okay. All right, we'll see. You know, we just checking to make sure now, sis. You know, you've been dealing with the word. Now, you know, don't bring nobody that's not going to be in the word that's going to cause you to fall short. Not that we hate, but at the same time, like, that's what family going to do. You're going to look out just like with a brother bringing a sister in. Like, we be like, dude, she in the word? Oh, nah, man, I just found her. Here we go with this. Like, you about to give yourself over to fornication. You know what I'm saying? But that's how we do as family. So it may fall next in line like that as just some wise counsel, you know, but there's nothing wrong with trying to seek the next person in line. I just wanted to read these as an example. All right, so let's see here. We had a question from JB. Was that two? That was two, right? Yeah. All right, we're going to come back, y'all. But we had a question about how to get to Passover, right? And let's see here. Let's go to Leviticus 22 right quick. Leviticus chapter 23. This is 8. All right, Leviticus 23. Let's pick this up right around verse 4. We're going to start at verse 4. Verse 4.
Go ahead.
4. Yeah.
These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. In the 14th day of the first month, at evening is the Lord's Passover, and on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread.
Okay, so now, once we get out of the weekly Sabbath, which is what we observe, you know, every week, the Lord has, outside of the weekly Sabbath, he has some more feast days that are considered annual feasts. And the first one on the list is called the Passover. So, verse 4, he said, these are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which you shall proclaim in their seasons. It is the 14th day of the first month at evening is the Lord's Passover, right? So, the first thing we got to get to is the first month, right? The first month of the Lord's calendar. And we got to get to the 14th day at evening, and that would take us to the Lord's Passover, right? So now let's go into Let's go to Exodus probably 14. Let's see here. Exodus, let's see the 14. Exodus 13. That's the one I want. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, look at, no. Go back again, give me 1 second. Okay, go to Deuteronomy 16. I'm trying to look for the first one. So this is the first month. We're just looking at the name of it. Deuteronomy 16. Deuteronomy 16. We're going to pick this up at verse 1. Go ahead and read that.
Observe the month of Abib, and keep the Passover unto the Lord thy God. For in the month of Abib the Lord thy God brought thee forth out of Egypt by night. Thou shalt therefore sacrifice the Passover unto the Lord thy God of the flock of the herd, in the place which the Lord shall choose to place his name there.
Okay. All right, so. Let's see here. Look up something real quick. Might be back in Leviticus 23. Because mainly the question is how we get the Passover. And there's a lot of variables that I can talk about, but I'm just trying to get us to the first month. Did we see that in Leviticus 23? All right, so, okay, Exodus chapter 12. Exodus chapter 12. Let's pick this up at verse 1. All right, so this is what's going to start us off for the Lord's New Year, right? Exodus 12, verse 1. All right, go ahead and read that for me.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house.
Okay, so now we know this is the month of Abib, right? So now let's go look at some real quick. Let's go to and that's the beginning of the year, right? Abib. Let's go to the end of the year, and I'm gonna show you why we come in here. Why? Go look at. You going, Brother Tony? Yeah. Exodus 34. Hold on. Try Exodus 34. I got your email, man. Do I have your email?
I don't think so. I sent it to you.
Yeah, I need to send you this thing right quick. Exodus 34. Look at verse 22. And then, Lord willing, we get up tomorrow, man. But send me your email. Exodus 34 in verse 22. All right, read that for me. We'll start at verse 21.
6 days thou shalt work, but on the 7th day thou shalt rest, in earning time, and in the harvest thou shalt rest.
Okay, so you're going to work 6 days, 7 days, thou shalt rest in earing time, and in harvest thou shalt rest. What else does it say, 22?
And thou shalt observe the feast of weeks,
Mm-hmm.
of the first fruits of the wheat harvest.
So we got, it pertains to the 3 different feasts that the males are supposed to observe. He say observe the Feast of Weeks, first fruits of wheat harvest, and what else?
And the feast of ingathering at the year's end.
Okay, so he said the Feast of Ingathering, right? At the year's end. Okay, and I wanted to come here because why is it that the Lord is calling this the year's end? Because, you know, the Feast of Ingathering is on what month? The 7th month, right? So that's not the end of the year, is it? It's 12 months for the most part of the year, sometimes 13. But so why is this considered the end of the year? And the reason why is because this is the last feast for the Lord, right? Feast of Ingathering, that's the last feast that takes place, because at this point, what starts to happen is everything's starting to go dormant. You know what I'm saying? Like after Tabernacles, for the most part, everything's starting to get cold now. You know what I'm saying? And then you got really 5 months where everything about to go dormant. Grass going dormant, leaves are falling. Well, leaves start falling right before that. But, you know, we start walking into the end of the Lord's year. Like you notice he got those 7 feasts. They start at the beginning of the year. The first month, which is Abib, and it take you down to the 7th month, which is really completion for the Lord. But even during that month, that's it. Excuse me. He calls that the end of the year, right? So now, if that's the end of the year, based on, you know, like I say, everything is mainly shut down at that point. You know, we kind of chilling for the next, you know, if you notice how we do it, we don't have anything going on. I sent the Donnell file to you, brother. We don't have anything going on for probably October, November, December, January, February, March. Yeah, around. We start picking up late March, early April, sometime middle April, you know. But that's when, you know, for the most part, after Tabernacles is done. So now, as we walk into the new year, it's going to be some different signs to show you that we coming into the Passover. Now, when we was in Israel, with certain things that we would do, or certain things like they would look for barley and stuff like that to be able to tell, but we're not there. So now, the way we would do it now, they call it a spring equinox. You know what I'm saying? The spring equinox in this case would be during the time of the year where the days are almost completely equal, right? And what happens is, because you're coming out of a time where, you know, the days have been mainly short. You know, you probably got 10 hours of brightness compared to 14 hours of darkness. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not really getting dark at 8 and 9 o'clock no more. It's starting to get dark like around 6. You know what I'm saying? 6 o'clock, and it stay dark almost till 7:30 sometimes. You know what I'm saying? In the wintertime. You know, so the nights are getting longer, the days are getting shorter. So as we start to move into the Lord's new year, what's starting to happen is you're going to see like the days going to start to even out. All right? Days going to start to even out. That ain't going to really determine nothing. You know things are getting ready to change, though. They're starting to even out, and then the days start to get longer. You know what I'm saying? Like the following month after the equinox, you know, and just based on how we can kind of observe things, right? Like if you didn't have no calendar, if you didn't have no way to count it, you would use the sun, you would use the moon to kind of determine. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then you would use some signs outside to determine. And I'm gonna give you a few examples. Like for instance, okay, say the day is starting to get even, right? Now you'll notice this every year, and I notice it all the time because that's what I do. You know, that's my main way of living, you know what I'm saying, working outside, right? So for the most part, every year, after the days are even, what happens is the days start getting longer. And it start getting, you know, it's not dark long like it used to be. Like for instance, if you had it'll start getting darker like around 7:30, as opposed to 6:15, 6:20. You know what I'm saying? It started moving to like 7:30 now. Then next thing you know, it started moving like to 7:45. And then what happens is, of course, they change it themselves. But if you just leave it alone, it'll automatically do it by itself because we're moving toward the Lord's New Year. So as we start, this time starts to change, you don't really see the grass starting to bloom, come up yet. You don't see the trees starting to bloom yet. You don't see all that happening yet. You're just starting to see the winter starting to recede, and you're starting to see us getting ready to move toward the summer months. Now, when you start seeing the days get longer, right? After we done hit the equinox, the days gonna start getting longer. Then after about a month after the days start getting longer, then what's gonna start happening? That's when you're gonna start seeing the trees and stuff starting to bloom. You know what I'm saying? The trees gonna start to bloom, the grass gonna start to grow. Then right after that, that new moon right there, just based on eyesight, that's your new month. That's a bib right there. You understand what I'm saying? Then once you hit a bib, now you're gonna count to the next 14 days. That's gonna take you into the new year. Right? That's gonna be Passover. You know what I'm saying? But it almost works like that every year. You gotta have, you know, in a sense, all these factions working. It can't just be the days getting longer, but the trees ain't blooming. Right. And you'll see that happen. You will see that happen. It's almost like the summer is ending. Like the trees, the leaves will start falling, and the days will start to get shorter, but it still ain't walked in the wintertime yet. Well, just like with the new year coming, the days will start getting longer, but the trees ain't start blooming yet. When them days start getting longer, then right after that, you know, you're going to start seeing the trees start to bloom, the grass start to come up. Right after that, boom, you know, that next new moon, that's your new year. And then 14 days later, that's the Passover. This is how you're going to determine it without being able to look at a calendar. You know what I'm saying? Like, we off in the wilderness anywhere, like we'll be able to call it. And I can call it because almost every year it happens the same. It happens the same, and I look for it. You know what I'm saying? But that's the best example I could give you. You know what I'm saying?
So when it says new moon, are we talking about a full moon?
No, you're not talking about a full moon.
Next time the moon changes its cycle?
No, you probably more likely you're not going to see it.
Okay, so
Right.
basically.
Not a slither.
When,
Come to the mic. You think you got son-in-law privileges. You see that?
Oh, sorry about that.
I'm messing with you, dog.
So, basically, when the days start to even out and you have the same amount of time in night and in day, then you start to see the seasons change because the trees and stuff are starting to bloom and grass is growing and all that. You wait till the next moon cycle. So next time you see a moon, then count 14 days from that.
Well, you can't when it's equal. That ain't really a big difference yet. It's
Okay.
almost like when the days start getting longer.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Because when the days start getting longer, not too long after that, that's when the trees gonna start blooming. That's when the grass gonna start coming up, and then that next new moon after that, that's gonna be the new year. Because once that new year hit, then everything just gonna go full throttle. Everything like you ain't gonna the grass gonna start coming, trees gonna start blooming, but after that new moon, you're gonna really start seeing everything start to take off.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But the new moon you ain't gonna see the new moon.
So you're not gonna see. Okay.
Yeah, it just started over like a clean slate, in other words. Because people say, well, how is it new moon you don't see it? Well, it's like a blank sheet of paper. You know what I'm saying? Like a blank sheet of paper, then you draw a little bit in, draw a little bit more in, draw a little bit more in, then boom, you got the full moon. Then we start going to it, breaking down again, and you start all over again.
Okay.
With nothing, like a blank sheet again.
Oh, I know what you. So like when the moon barely have a little bit of.
That ain't the new moon though.
Okay.
That's like some of the moon. It's like you starting to shade it in now.
Mm-hmm.
Like the new moon is like a blank sheet of paper. Then you're gonna get the first little piece. Then it's gonna, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna lighten up more and more and more.
Okay.
Then we're gonna start all over with that blank sheet of paper again. But
black.
it's gonna be blank.
I got you.
It ain't gonna be like a little sliver. Like
I got you. That's already. Yeah, I got you.
yeah, it ain't gonna be like a little sliver. It's gonna be blank. Start all over again. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's the best way I can explain it.
So when it's blank, that's when it's new.
when you don't see no moon in the sky.
It's new moon. Right. Right. It's like I say, it's like, okay, just look like the Lord erasing and starting all over again. Then every month it's really just turned a certain way, if I'm mistaken. You know, I don't really know, but I just how it's determined, how God determines it, but I just know that when it's a new moon, you can't see it. And you can look on your phones, like you'll be able to look on your apps, almanacs. You can see it, like it'll show you the different moon phases.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And you'll see, like, once you get to new moon, you don't see it.
Like,
It'd be like,
Yeah.
You see like an outline of a moon, but it'd be
Mm.
black.
You see all black. You don't see the moon.
I think you're talking about on the app, like on the little app.
Yeah.
Oh, on the app.
Yeah,
Oh,
it'll
okay.
show it,
I got you.
Right.
I seen it.
I got you. Yeah, I used to have it on my phone. Well, yeah, you can pull it up and you'll be able to see it. The regular calendar. Let's see here. Almanac, definitely. And the crazy thing about it, that's how, like, we know when fish are getting ready to come out. No, we call it running. You know what I'm saying? Like when they get ready to start spawning and stuff like that. It's like everything works in unison year round. The dogwood trees. You don't know what those are. Those are those popcorn trees that you see on the side of the highway. Got those white flowers on them. Every year they blossom around the same time. Let you know we going into the new year. The fish start running around the new year. You know what I'm saying? Hibernation goes and all this type of stuff. You know, every year, man, like take us into the Lord New Year. It's a new beginning. You know, but this is how we would determine it if, like, we didn't have anything to measure it by. And that's how you have to look at it. Like, we don't got nothing to measure it by, because you have some people tripping about, you know, saying things like, okay, well, some months we have 13 months in a year. Well, first and foremost, God didn't really give it a time. You know what I'm saying? He said the sun and the moon going to be for days and for seasons and for, what is it saying? Signs of a season, days and years, right? Yeah, for signs of a season, days and for years. So the moon gonna determine your seasons. The sun gonna determine your days. You know what I'm saying? So we cannot actually go into a new year until we have certain things that are actually happening. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't go by a 12-month calendar, because if you go by a 12-month calendar and say we're gonna go by 360 days, all right, well, man even adjust his calendar to kind of fit what's going on, because if you go by 360 days and you losing 5 days every year, in 10 years you're gonna be lost how many days? 50 days. So that means you're gonna be keeping the Passover around February. February, probably into January. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Right, and you can't do that. So you would have to. You would just like if you go by the calendar and they run into 13, you know, that's how we just measured to put something down on paper. But if we didn't have to measure by that, we just went by the signs, we would have to wait on all this stuff to unfold. We'd have to wait for, you know, the days to start evening up, everything to start blossoming and coming back, and then that following moon after, boom, we know that's the new year. Why? Because things are starting to come back to life now. Things are starting to come alive. You know, that's why I had to show you the end of the year, because the end of the year, that's it. Everything is, you know, around October, everything is starting to go dormant. You know that. That last feast we got, Tabernacles, that's like, man, you know, that's it. We kind of dread, going off into the end of the year, that being our last feast. But we know, hey, this is it, and we can't wait till our feast days roll back around. But at the same time, we know what's coming. We know Halloween coming, Thanksgiving coming. These are feasts and holidays that they observe in winter months. The Lord finished his off, you know, at the end of the year on the 7th month. That's another way you know he's black, because he ain't dealing with no cold weather. But that's all I got on that, man.
Appreciate it.
No, you're welcome, man. So now let's see what else. Anything else in house? We got 2 in house, right? We have one. Anything else in house? Come on.
Yeah.
I was trying to look at the latitude and longitude, because I was going to let you know, like, we kind of determine everything off of Israel anyway. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't want to make you more confusing.
Yeah, Israel, in like in the first resurrection, there's going to be flesh and blood, and I was trying to see like will the flesh and blood that's here will be able to see the dead rise and all that kind of stuff. I know they was like supposed to see Jesus, but I'm trying to see will they see the actual people rising going into the sky.
More than likely. Yeah, let's go to Matthew. Yeah, that is. I mean, if they're gonna be in this close vicinity, it's almost a high probability they're gonna probably try to grab you. Like, where you going, dog? Grab your leg as you ascending. Right. Now, let go of me, player. So look at Matthew 24. Look at verse. Start at 36. All right, brother. You got it? You got it, that email I sent to you? Matthew 24, verse 36. All right, go ahead.
But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of
Who are you talking about? But as the days of who?
Noah.
Noah, right.
Yeah. But he said no, so I just
Noah.
No. My bad.
Just translate it,
I
dog.
got you. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day of Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Okay, so now we talking about the return of the Lord, right? Talking about the end of the world. So based on this, he's talking about how it's going to be at his return. Go ahead and read. What else?
Then shall the two be in the field. The one shall be taken, and the other left.
Two going to be in the field, right? He say what? Two going to be in the field, the one taken, and the other left. What else he say?
Two women shall be grinding at the mill.
So it looked like to me, and even though he may be just giving a roundabout idea, he just let you know, hey, you know, you're going to have this going on. You know, you're going to have some people you might be around somebody and just, you know, Lord take you at that time. Maybe, where you going? You know what I'm saying? But the point is, hey, you know, you're going to have flesh and blood ascending, getting changed at that time. And you're going to have some flesh and blood more than likely seeing it. He say, look, two women shall be grinding at the mill. What else?
The one shall be taken, and the other left. Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doeth come. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up.
Let's go a little further. Let's go over to let's look at Luke 17 and let's pick this up at talking about the second coming. Look at 17 and verse 33. Luke 17 verse 33. Read that for me, brother.
Whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. I tell you, in that night, there shall be two men in one bed.
Oh, look at that. He say two men in one. We're not talking about homosexuals. We're just talking about mankind as a species. He say, look, it's going to be two men in one bed. I don't know, but then again, because he said it's going to be like the days of Lot, didn't it? Nah, it can't be that because it can't be that. It can't be that because ain't there one of them get caught up. I bind that in the name of Jesus. That ain't gonna happen. Oh my God. No, they ain't getting caught up. Ain't no homosexual getting caught up. It's just not gonna happen. Like I said, we just talking about mankind, the species. But where you going? Nah, that ain't gonna happen. Nah, nah. So he say, oh man, he said, I tell you, in that night there should be two men in one bed. What else?
The one shall be taken, and the other shall be left.
Right. So look at the close proximity of the examples that God has given us. You know what I'm saying? Like even down to two laying in the bed, a man and a woman, of course. We just describing the species as a whole. But you got, you know, a man and a woman, and one of them getting taken, the other one getting left. So that's all I can give you right there.
So far as like the dead rising.
Come right now.
I was wondering, like, when the dead is rising, you'd be able to see the dead rise also?
Right out of the grave?
Right.
Let's go to 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians? Is it 2 Corinthians? No, I think it's Thessalonians. Is it Thessalonians? I think it's 1 Thessalonians. Yeah, I think it's 1 Thessalonians 4. Thank you. 1 Thessalonians 4. And let's pick this up at, let's start at verse 13. First Thessalonians 4 and verse 13. All right, go ahead.
But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that ye sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Jesus will God bring with him. For this we say unto you by the way of the Lord, the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep.
Uh-huh.
For the Lord himself
So we talking about dead, the dead, right? So he say, so we talking about the dead, not being ignorant concerning them which are asleep. Then he say, for this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain, right? Unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep. For what?
from asleep. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with a voice of the archangel, and with a trump of God, and the dead in Christ shall rise first.
Keep reading.
Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with God, be with the Lord.
Right. So right here, right. So you have us, you know, the ones that we be so blessed, gonna get caught up in there, right? But not until after the dead rise up. But you also still have some flesh and blood people that ain't gonna die. You know what I'm saying? That the Lord gonna actually gather out to the wilderness and stuff like that. But you got dead people everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's dead people all over the world. So I would have to say, it would be safe to say that, you know, they're gonna see that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think they're gonna be invisible. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they're gonna be invisible.
It's like people seeing that, they got to know something going on, you know?
Yeah, that's probably why they're gonna mourn. You see all the tribes of the earth gonna mourn.
True.
They're gonna realize that, boom, they ain't make it. You know what I'm saying? You know, but like I said, I think it would be safe to say that, like, we can't read nothing that says it, but just looking at what I'm reading here about, like we that's alive and remain, like, we're not gonna prevent them which are asleep. You know what I'm saying? Like, they gonna even ascend up before we do. But just like that, we gonna be among other people as well. You see what I'm saying? Like, we gonna be hanging around and we gonna get caught up, like we read earlier. You're gonna have two out in the field, you know, grinding, one caught up, but at the same time, you still got the dead everywhere. They're gonna be coming up before we even ascend up.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, they gonna go up before we ascend up. The dead is getting up first. What we read before we came here, we ain't coming up until after the dead get up. You see what I'm saying? So, like, they gonna see us, that one in that bed that didn't get taken, they gonna see us ascend. That one that was grinding at the mill that did get taken, they gonna see the one next to them at the mill get taken up. So that's why I said it'd be safe to just, say that they'll see the dead get up too. You know what I'm saying?
Which sky's gonna be again?
Excuse me?
You tell me which skies are gonna be.
What sky is it going to
Where in
be?
the world is it supposed to take place at? I'm just curious.
What kind of what? Say that again so they can hear you on the mic.
Take it to the mic.
I was comfortable.
I know you were.
Bring the mic to me, please.
You been out you too long. You better get up.
Let me get you for this. Where in the world is this sky thing supposed to take place?
This sky thing?
Yes.
Wow.
I mean,
All over the world.
all over the world.
All over the world. Yes. Because people died all over the world. You had
No, I mean, where are we gonna meet?
in the sky.
Where? All over the world?
No. Oh, where we gonna meet the Lord?
No, when he's in the sky, we meet him in the sky. Where in what land we gonna meet him in?
You're not gonna meet him. You're gonna meet him in the air.
Okay.
No, hold on. All right. Your first question, right? I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna bring us down to earth, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna literally bring us down to the earth. But before I bring us to the earth, like the saints all over the world gonna meet the Lord in the air. That's the first thing we have to understand, right?
Right.
That we gonna meet him in the air. Now we're not gonna stay there. We gonna come down to a particular location, and I'm gonna show you. But we gonna meet the Lord in the air because we gonna fight the war of Armageddon with the Lord.
So when we meet in the air, we don't know exactly where in the air it's gonna be, but we know what land we're gonna come back down on.
Oh yeah, we know what land, but he don't say like what location in the air at.
Okay.
It's so
That's
big.
what I was curious of.
Yeah, it don't say that.
Okay.
You know what though? I mean, it seems like it might be like we might ascend that way. No, what Jerusalem at? What Jerusalem at? That way, right? Yeah, we might ascend that way. You know, us being over here, because we got to come down right outside. Mount Olive, yeah. Mount Olive, you know what I'm saying?
We might be going east. And
Yeah, we might be ascending that way. You know what I'm
those
saying?
Those east of Jerusalem be going west.
More likely, yeah.
Okay, that's what I was trying to find.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, great question. What direction? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so something like that, you know. But these are all, these are all just hypotheses. You know, that's all this is. This ain't nothing we can read. We just these are just guess. That's all they are. You know, how do you say it? Hypotheses? Hypothesis. That's all. It's educated guess. That's all. In God's eye, he be like, y'all lost y'all mind. Educated.
How we gonna go through the ceiling? Or we gonna bust through the ceiling?
I don't know, dog. Jesus did it.
Or he can go through all.
Because remember he said we're going to be changed
Yeah, you're right.
in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye at the last trump. So we got to be changed.
Yeah, you go through all.
You know what I'm saying? So we probably just going to be able to go through anything, man. Like, I mean, just think if you in the bed. I don't think the bed going to be outside. You know what I'm saying? So more likely you're going to go through that, but you're going to be changed in the moment of twinkling of an eye at the last trump. So, you had something, Cephas? Any questions or comments? Any comments? We'll open it up for comment. How about that? Comments? No comments? Huh?
Not to say criticism. Not to say.
Criticism? Whatever, man. It don't matter.
Not to say.
We'll put a chair right here. Put a chair right here and show me what you got. I was telling Brother Lai, he said back in the day they used to have a chair. At Israel of God, they had a chair sit up front. People come in with some different doctrines, and they'll let them sit right there in the chair. Yeah, tear them up afterwards. That's what we need to get. We need to put a chair right there. What else we got? Brother T is stupid. He talking about we sure we're not gonna meet Jesus or Martin Luther King in the sky. I don't know, dog. Ain't no telling with the Lord, boy. Man. Let's see, retarded. What else we got here? Let's see here. Was that two in house? Now, oh yeah, we need to get back online. We getting good Lord. Let's see here. I'm learned we're still under the curse as physical Israelites who are servants of God. My question is, what is the biggest benefit of serving God if we're still cursed? Y'all like getting beat? You like getting beat? Alright. You like your sons getting killed in the street? You like all these diseases and all these ailments that the Lord put on us? Turn back to the Lord. Like your life hanging in doubt? Turn back to the Lord. That's the benefit. Because regardless of us still being under the curse, it don't do us no good to stop, to continue disobeying God. Like, that's the whole purpose he beating us, because we're disobeying him. You know, it's not like you say, well, you under the curse, you know, you say, well, I guess I might as well give up then, because things ain't gonna get no better. No, the reason why we got put in this bondage is so we can turn from our iniquity, turn from our sin, you know. Go to Isaiah 44 right quick. Isaiah 44. Joe, what's up? At 7:45, you gonna be ready? All right. What time we got started?
5:45.
Huh?
I think it was like 5:45.
About 5:45? Okay. So, look at Isaiah 44. Martin Luther King, Lord have mercy. Isaiah 44. Pick this up at now look at 43. Isaiah 43 and start at verse I don't know if I want that. You know, let's see here. Okay. Isaiah 44 and 21. Read that. All right, go ahead.
Remember these, O Jacob and Israel, for thou art my servant. I have formed thee. Thou art my servant, O Israel. Thou shalt not be forgotten of me.
So regardless of our condition, the Lord hasn't forgotten Israel, right? He said, look, remember these, O Jacob and Israel, for thou art my servant. I have formed thee. Thou art my servant, O Israel. Thou shalt not be forgotten of me. But it kind of looks like that, don't it? You know, kind of feels like that sometimes, especially if you know, if we didn't know about the word. I remember back in the day, man, look, when I was in my 20s, man, you know, I used to write music about, you know, about us and our condition. I didn't even know about the truth. And I just felt like I felt a connection to the Lord some way, shape, or form. You know, and even with, I would write stuff about our condition and how the Lord was going to help us out and take care of us and stuff like that and bring us out of this stuff. You know, I ain't know nothing about who the Hebrew was and nothing like that. You know, but my point is I don't even know. I don't forget. But I just know that before I even, you know, came into the Word, I was kind of feeling like that, you know. And of course, the Word wants you to get off into that crazy stuff. They didn't want The world don't want light; they want darkness. Period. But I just know I felt like that. I felt like a connection to the Lord even way back then. But he said, just remember these, O Jacob. For thou art my servant, I have formed thee. Thou art my servant, O Israel. Thou shalt not be forgotten of me. And I kind of felt like that back then when I used to write that type of stuff. You know, I kind of felt like the Lord was going to save us. The Lord was going to redeem us. I just didn't know how. You know, I just didn't know how. But now I got a clear understanding of it. And then he done showed us a way out of it. What he say in verse 22, though?
I have blotted out as a thick cloud thy transgressions.
He said, look, I blotted out as a thick cloud thy transgressions, right? This is what he was talking about when we say I blotted out the handwriting of ordinances that was against you, sisters and brothers. Because look, when you broke the law, hey, you had something that was against you that was sitting right there, you know, waiting to be enforced, and that was death. You see? But he say, Israel, regardless, even though you done messed up and dropped the ball, that does not mean that you continue in sin as if there's no benefit to turn to God. Look, it is a great benefit in you turning back to God. And notice what he said. He said, look, I blotted out as a thick cloud thy transgressions. What else?
And as a cloud, thy sins returned unto me.
He said, and as a cloud, thy sins, then he says, return unto me, right? So that's what we're supposed to do. The Lord done, you know, it's like the Lord is having mercy on us, giving us an opportunity. This is why, if you look at us now, today, the Lord didn't wipe us out, did he? The Lord didn't kill us off as a nation. As a matter of fact, he allowed us to stay around and, you know, still be here to wake up and get the word. You know, so that lets you know the Lord, or that shows you him having mercy right there, sisters and brothers. So he said, look, I blotted out as a thick cloud thy transgressions, and as a cloud thy sins. What you got to do?
Return unto me. For I have redeemed thee.
He say, look, return unto me, for I have redeemed thee. And that's what you got to do. You can't just get the mentality can't just be, well, what's the benefit? Look, the whole purpose of you coming here, the whole purpose of Israel coming, being put in this situation is because of disobedience. Like I was saying earlier today, you know, Israel came into captivity as a punishment. You know, it's like we went off into a worldwide jail. Matter of fact, we saw earlier in Revelation, he called it spiritually Sodom and Egypt, didn't he? You know, because we're in a worldwide Egypt right now. Like we just ain't in just the... We're not just in that location of the first captivity. Look, all over the world we're in captivity. But what are you supposed to do in your captivity? You're supposed to turn back to God. That's what we was looking at today in 2 Chronicles 6, I believe. Matter of fact, flip over to it and read. Let's go read it. You know, the benefit in turning back to God is that there is reward at the end. You know, you have to understand that there is a very important responsibility that has been put on us, sisters and brothers, and we have to, you know, I guess in a sense, step up to the plate and do our job. You know, that's why we don't really, not that we don't want you to get salvation as far as brothers, Gentile brothers preaching and stuff. You know, we want you to get salvation, but as far as dealing with this gospel, you got to just leave that alone for now, because man, we just catching it. We catching it real bad, and I think if you want to deal with this, you would have to want to deal with the bullets that we catching also. And that's the thing. Most people don't want to deal with that. They just want to deal with the position of standing up here, leading the congregation. Look, it's a lot that come with this. That's just like, for instance, the situation with you know, the situation with what was going on with, you know, the COVID-19. You know, a lot of people got shook. A lot of people got shook. Like my teacher said, we had an open book test. Open book test to see where your faith was at. You know, but at the same time, you know, being Hebrews or Israel as a whole, we got to stand up. We can't run now because we telling everybody that we serving God, and then we gonna tuck tail and run like everybody else. No, we can't do that, especially the preacher. You know, but we can't do that. 2 Chronicles 6 and 36, but that come with us, we have been trodden down, beat, put in a bad situation because of our disobedience, and now we just trying to show God, look, God, we are sorry for our disobedience. We're sorry for the way we've been carrying ourselves, and we asking, for the Lord to have mercy, and we asking for that mercy by way of how we carrying ourselves. Read 37. We ain't gonna read 36 and 37. That's too much. Not too much, but I read it today. Go and read that for me.
37,
Just because I said it, go and read 36.
36.
It's the devil. He think he's slick. Go ahead and read it. He don't want us to read the Bible. Go ahead and read it, though. We're going to read it now.
If they sin against thee,
Because that's how you know the devil be talking. Because God ain't going to say that, is he? God ain't going to say don't read that you already read it. That's what Satan be doing. So just because that thought came, we're going to go back and read. We're going to read all of that now. What it say?
if they sin against thee, for there is no man which sinneth not, and thou be angry with them, and deliver them over before their enemies, and they carry them away captives unto a land far off or near. Yet if they bethink themselves in the land whither they are carried captive, and turn and pray unto thee in the land of their captivity, saying, We have sinned, we have done amiss, and have dealt wickedly. If they return to thee with all their heart and with all their soul in the land of their captivity, whither they have carried them captives, and pray toward their land, which thou gavest unto their fathers, and toward their city, which thou hast chosen, and toward the house which I have built for thy name, then hear thou from the heavens, even from thy dwelling place, their prayer and their supplications, and to maintain their cause, and forgive thy people which have sinned against thee.
Okay, so now, let's go to Malachi. Brother T sent me something. Thank you, bro. I appreciate this. He just texted me a scripture. Malachi chapter 3. And that's definitely that's a start for us. Like I said earlier today, you know, Solomon kind of set us up that, Lord, if they go into captivity because they sinned against you and they turn to you, they think themselves and land in captivity, you know, have mercy on them, Lord. Hear their prayer. And the Lord agreed to that. But this right here, Malachi chapter 3, this kind of like fits the question real good. Matter of fact, after this, we're going to look at Psalm. What it say in verse 13? Malachi 3 and 13. Go and read that for me.
Your words have been stout against me, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, What have we spoken so much against thee?
Okay, now notice what the Lord said. He said, look, your words have been stout against me. You know, like sometimes we have to do a, you know, double take and kind of think about what it is we saying. You understand? Because we're dealing with God, you know. And I know sometimes the situations or conditions can kind of make us feel like, well, what is this for? Why are we doing this? We still cursed, still in the same, ain't nothing getting better. Why we got to do this? But pay attention now. He say, look, your words have been stout against me, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, what have we spoken so much against thee? What you mean by that? What do we say, Lord? Go ahead and read.
Ye have said, It is vain to serve God.
You say, look, it's vain to serve God. It don't make, there's no profit in it. We ain't getting nothing. Hey, nothing gonna change. He said, look, you have said it is vain to serve God. Keep reading.
And what profit is it that we have kept his ordinance, and that we have walked mournfully before the Lord of hosts, and now we call the proud happy.
But look though, he say the proud, they get to enjoy the finer things in life. You know, they don't have to worry about having to, you know, be subject to any laws, any things like that. And they still having a good time. He said, look, you have said, this is what the Lord is responding. He said, look, you said that it is vain to serve God, and what profit is it that we have kept his ordinance, and that we have walked mournfully before the Lord of hosts. You walking like you don't want to do it. And I know people like that feel like, hey, it's a burden serving God. That's why they can't get to church on the Sabbath. Because they feel like it's a burden, whether deal with going to work, rather stay home, you know, because they feel like they don't want to get sick or get caught up. But hey, look, if you ain't paid attention, the world is back to functioning. You shouldn't be still in that doggone house. Now, at some point, you're going to have some faith. I don't get it. I ain't trying to get in nobody's house, but at the same time, look, that's the whole difference between us and the world, right? Faith. That's the difference. So he said, look, what profit? He's still, he's explaining what somebody, or give an example in the Bible, what they're saying to him. You have said it is vain to serve God, and what profit is it that we have kept this ordinance? Like, what's the profit in that? Like, what is that going to do for us? And that we'll walk mournfully before the Lord of hosts, right? And now we call the proud happy. Yeah, they that work wickedness are set up. Yeah, they that tempt God are even delivered. The Lord is laying it out there, right? Letting you know what's on that mind. But what he said in 16, go and read that.
Then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another.
But notice what he said. He said, then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another what?
And the Lord hearkened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord. And that though upon his name, that thought upon his name.
Right. So he said, look, then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another, and the Lord hearkened and heard it, right? So y'all see how we kind of do, like we take pride in serving God, don't we? We take pride in keeping the Sabbath day. It's a good time. Like last week, Pentecost, we had a great time. We ain't wanted to end. We look forward to serving. We look forward to the Sabbath day. That's not a problem. We're not mourning before the Lord regarding his feast days and stuff like that. So he say, look, then they that fear the Lord spake often one to another, and the Lord hearkened and heard it, right? The Lord heard the things that we are saying regarding his stuff that he set to the side for us to do, how we're happy about that. He hearkened and heard it, and then what he did?
And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord.
Oh, so he wrote their name in the book of remembrance, right? That's what you want to do. You want to get your name in that book of remembrance. That's why I did a class a while back, mainly talking about how we so worried about, the name of Jesus. Look, you need to worry about getting your name in the book. You missing the big picture. But he say, look, a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord and that thought upon his name. What else is saying 17?
And they shall be mine, saith the Lord of hosts, in that day when I make up my jewels.
You see that? He say, look, you're going to belong to the Lord. You're going to be a part of this in that day when I make up my jewels. And what else?
And I will spare them as a man spareth his own son that serveth him.
But you see that though, right? But this is what's going to happen. The Lord going to take care of you when you turn back to serving him. It may look kind of, it may not look good right now, but look, you just have to hold what you got, because it's going to get better at the end. It's like we saw earlier, hey, you're going to have to give up your life in order to save your life. But especially after some time that you've been serving God, look, it's easy. Like we look forward to doing this. And that's what you got to understand. Like this has to be a joyous occasion, being able to serve God. God showing you the things of the kingdom. We being able to, like he said in Hebrews, being able to eat from the good word of God. We tasting the good word of God. Like, look, that's a joyous thing. Flip over to Psalm 73. Psalm 73. Psalm 73. And pick this up at start at verse 1. Psalm 73 and verse 1. Go and read that for me.
Truly, God is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart. But as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped. For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain. Violence covereth them as a garment. Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than heart could wish.
But look at how things may be perceived, you know, on the outside looking in. You know, you may look at the world as if, you know, they just having a good time. You know, they got nothing to answer to. They don't have to worry about anything. Look like they just being prosperous all over the place. And that's why he say, look, as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped. I almost fell. Why though? He say, because I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. Like I said, they ain't got nothing to hold them back. Nothing to reel them in when they get too far out there. And that's what it look like, don't it? You look at the world, hey, they don't got the answer for nothing. You may think that, hey, but Lord bless them with nice stuff. Man, they always having a good time. They don't got the answer to nothing. But look, that's a trap, sisters and brothers. That's a trap. Don't fall for it. You see David say, look, I almost fell for it. He said, they are not in trouble as other men, verse 5, neither are they plagued like other men. Then he say, because of that, what happens? Verse 6.
Therefore, pride compasses them about as a chain. Violence covered them as a garment.
He said, look, pride compassed them about as a chain, right? It's like you got pride sitting on them like a necklace. Then he say, what? Violence covered them as a garment. Like they got violence as a coat. That's what they covered in. Pride and violence, right? Then he said in verse 7, what?
Their eyes stand out with fatness.
That's all they can see is more and more and more. More and more and more. That's why a lot of people don't want to serve God. Because they focus on fatness. Getting more, sisters and brothers. He said, look, their eyes stand out with fatness. What else?
They have more than the heart could wish.
Look, they have more than you can even ask for. They have more than heart can wish. What else?
They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak lawfully.
That's right. Go ahead.
They set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walketh through the earth. Therefore, his people.
Look, they set their mouth against the heavens. They are corrupt, speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily or proudly. They set their mouth against the heavens. See, that's what happens when you get too much. You know, that's why another place. What it say, Cephas, is about not giving me too much? I'll take your name in vain. Not giving me, don't give me too little, I'll mess around and steal or something like that. What is that at?
Proverbs 30.
Read it for me. Yeah, say it loud. Put you on the spot, didn't I? One of y'all know where it's at, though.
That's Proverbs 30. In verse 7.
Proverbs 30 and verse 7? I'll read it from the mic. Go on, keep reading, though. Go ahead.
Therefore his people returneth hither, and waters of a full cup are wrung out to them. And they say, how doeth God know? And is there knowledge in the Most High?
Right. So back to verse 9, it say, look, they set their mouth against the heavens and their tongue walked through the earth. And in Proverbs 30 verse 7, it says, two things have I required of thee. Deny me them not before I die. Remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me, lest I be full and deny thee. If you give me too much, I'm going to get full and I'm going to deny you, right? So don't give me too much. Lest I be full and deny thee and say, who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor, so don't give me, give me just enough now. But no, don't make me poor now. Because he say, if you make me poor, unless I be poor and steal, and take the name of thy God in vain. But when you get too much, man, you see how it can turn you away from God, don't you? That's why I say, look, in verse 9, they set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walked through the earth. Therefore his people returned hither, and the waters of a full cup are wrung out to them. And they say what? Verse 11.
And they say, how doeth God know?
Uh-huh.
And is there knowledge in the Most High?
Uh-huh.
Behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world. They increase in
He
riches.
said, look, Lord, pointed out. He said, behold, look, pay attention now. These are the ungodly who prosper in the world. They increase in riches. What else?
Verily I have cleansed my heart in vain, and washed my hands in
Innocency.
innocency. For all the day long have I been plagued.
Right,
And-
but pay attention, and that's how I can feel sometimes. Like, back to the question, right? Back to the original question. You come on up, Joe. Back to the original question, like you say here. She say, what is the biggest benefit of serving God if we are still cursed, right? And then, it say, look, kind of feel like, he say, verily I have cleansed my heart in vain and washed my hands in innocency. Like, in other words, look, I done did all this stuff for nothing. I done cleansed my heart in vain because, I'm not benefiting from this. But if you pay attention, hey, you know right out the gate that when you start turning to God, it's going to be trouble, sisters and brothers. It's going to start out rough, but the Lord told you that. He gave you the warning right out the gate in Matthew 10, I believe. Let you know he did not come to bring peace but a sword. And as a matter of fact, let you know it's going to start in your household, sisters and brothers. Go and read 14.
For all the day long have I been plagued, and chastened every morning. If I say, I will speak thus, behold, I should offend against the generation of my children, of thy children. When I thought to know this, it was too painful for me, until I went into the sanctuary of God. Then understood I therein, surely thou didst set them in slippery places. Thou castest them down into
so look
destruction.
what it say though. Now, because the end result of this, even though it looks bad, even though it may seem like, what we are facing right now is, bad compared to what everybody else is experiencing, right? He said, when I thought to know this, it was too painful for me until I went into the sanctuary of God. Right? Because he wanted to know, why am I going through this? It's too painful, but the Lord going to show him something, right? He said, until I went into the sanctuary of God, then understood I therein. They look good up front, look like nothing going to happen and stuff like that. God is allowing them to get by, but not away. So he said, look, until I went to the sanctuary of God, then understood I therein, surely what?
Surely thou didst set them in slippery places. Thou castest them down into destruction. How are they brought into desolation? As in a moment, they are utterly consumed with terrors.
That's right. He said, look, how though? How are they brought into desolation? He said, as in a moment, they are utterly consumed with terrors. What else?
As a dream when one awaketh, so, O Lord, when thou awakest, thou shalt despise their image. Thus my heart was grieved, and I was pricked in my reins. So foolish was I, and ignorant. I was as a beast before thee. Nevertheless, I am continually with thee, and has holden me by my right hand.
But you see that, right? He said, look, how they brought, verse 19, into desolation, as in a moment, they are utterly consumed with terrors. Because that's what's going to happen. When the Lord, he going to come back and take down the proud. And then sometimes you may even see it in life. People may be doing good, next thing you know, they're gone. But that ain't always, that ain't what you need to be seeking after. What our mindset need to be on serving God, because eventually when it's all said and done, hey, he going to bring the proud down anyway. So that ain't what you need to be, focusing on, trying to achieve or trying to seek after those things in the world. He said, as a dream when one awake, so, O Lord, when thou awake, thou shalt despise their image. So right now, it's like God is just, in a sense, just sleep, but not really sleep. It's just that he ain't started knocking their heads off yet, in other words. He allowing them to, just let them go right now. But when he wake up, it's over. That's why it says here, as a dream when one awake, giving you an analogy, right? Or an example of somebody when they wake up, right? He says, so, O Lord, when thou awake, thou shalt despise their image. 21.
Thus my heart was grieved.
He said, hey, my heart was grieved. What else?
And I was pricked in my reins.
Right. The Lord got a way to show you, you know, like your thinking is retarded. Not saying your thinking is retarded online. I'm just saying, men in general. God has it has a way of showing you, like, look, come back down to earth. Come on back down to earth now. Don't look at that and think that that's okay. See, that'd be Satan putting those thoughts in your mind. He said, look, thus my heart was grieved and I was pricked in my reins. What did he say, 22?
So foolish was I, and ignorant. I was as a beast before thee.
That's right, because that's what we are. Look, we just beasts before God. What he say, so foolish was I, and ignorant I was as a beast before thee. What?
Nevertheless, I am continually with thee.
But he say, and I know I messed up, Lord. You know, like we nothing in God's sight. We got to keep that in mind. He said, look, nevertheless, I'm continually with thee. Thou hast holding me by my right hand. What he said, 24.
Thou shalt guide me with thy counsel.
Hey, that's what we need to do, right? Let the Lord guide us with his counsel. Forget what you see going on in the world. He said, thou shalt guide me with thy counsel. Keep reading.
And afterward, receive me to glory.
Oh, but look at that, though. He said, afterward, receive me to glory. Sound like Jesus. But that's it. You can come on up, Joe. I'm going to get you some work in. You got some work on there, too, buddy. Yes, you do. Did I answer one or two? One? You got it. Well, you got one more line, right? Huh?
You look so comfortable.
I know. You look so comfortable out there. You gonna make you uncomfortable. You at work.
Look, it's cold with a little lump.
You probably is.
What was that?
So it's after that question that I just answered. The next one would be
Forever. My check.
water and life.
Explain John 21.
That was after that?
Yes. Forever 14. But was that 2 or 1? Should I do one in house?
I did. That was one right there.
Okay. For online.
Yeah, that was one.
Alright. Explain John 21, 18 and 25. Alright, brothers. We gonna read into it. Start at um, 11.
Okay, here, Bruce.
Peace, Israel.
Peace.
Okay.
Have a good week, brother. Go ahead. You're starting at 11.
Simon Peter went up and drew the net to the land full of great fishes, and 153, and for all there were so many, yet was not the net broken. Jesus saith unto them, Come and dine. And none of the disciples durst ask him, Who art thou? Knowing that it was the Lord. Jesus then cometh and taketh bread and giveth them a fish likewise. This is now the third time that Jesus showed himself to his disciples after that he was risen from the dead. So when they had dined, Jesus saith to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me more than these? He saith unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He saith unto him, Feed my lambs. He saith to him again the second time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? He saith unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He saith unto him, Feed my sheep. He saith unto him the third time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? Peter was grieved because he said unto him the third time, Lovest thou me? And he said unto him, Lord, thou knowest all things. Thou knowest that I love thee. Jesus saith unto him, Feed my sheep. Verily, verily, I say unto thee, when thou wast young, thou girdest thyself, and walkest whither thou wouldest. But when thou shalt be old, thou shalt stretch forth thy hands, and another shall gird thee, and carry thee, whither thou wouldest not. This spake he, signifying by what death he should glorify God. And when he had spoken this, he saith unto him, Follow me. Then Peter, turning about, seeth the disciples, whom Jesus loved, following, which also leaned on his breast at supper, and said, Lord, which is he that betrayeth thee? Peter, seeing him, saith to Jesus, Lord, and what shall this man do? Jesus saith unto him, If I will that he tarry till I come, what is that to thee? Follow thou me. Then went this saying abroad among the brethren, and that the disciples should not die. Yet Jesus said not unto him, He shall not die. But if I will that he tarry till I come, what is that to thee? This is the disciples which testified of these things, and wrote these things. And we know that his testimony is true. And there are also many other things which Jesus did, then which if they should be written, every one, I suppose that even the world itself could not contain the books that should be written. Amen.
Okay. Now, I have to read that 18, but 25 is pretty much saying that it's so much things that's written about Jesus that they couldn't catch everything, you know, about the writings of Jesus. You know, I know you might have some, I've seen they might have some Netflix little series on Netflix that they might have, you know, when Jesus was 9 or when Jesus was 14 or something like that. I'm like, how you know that? You can't read that, you know. But right here, that's why it says here in verse 25, it says there are so many other things which Jesus did, the which, if they should be written every one, I suppose that even the world itself could not contain the books. It had just been so much to write about what he done. You get what I'm saying? Like they have an example on, matter of fact, when Jesus was 12. We can read that. Let's go to Luke 2. Luke chapter 2. Like it's so much. Like, and this is just a little sample right here when he was 12 years old. Luke chapter 2. And pick it up at 40. Luke chapter 2 and verse 40. Go ahead, brother.
And the child grew, and waxed strong in spirit, and filled with wisdom, and the grace of God was upon him. Now his parents went to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover.
That's to let you know that Jesus, even when he was young, he was keeping the Passover. So it wasn't just something new that he was just doing for a prophecy to be fulfilled. Nah, he was been doing this. It says now his parents went to Jerusalem every year at the feast of Passover, because 3 of the feasts you had to be there at Jerusalem, which is unleavened bread, Pentecost, and Tabernacles. So Passover pretty much, they put Passover and unleavened bread pretty much together, because right after Passover is unleavened bread. So now his parents went into Jerusalem every year at the feast of Passover, verse 42.
And when he was 12 years old, they went.
So here it is, 12 years old. You know, but that's just one account of him as a youngster. You know what I'm saying? But this is just one of the things that he did at the age of 12. Keep going.
And when he was 12 years old, they went up to Jerusalem after the custom of the feast. And when they had fulfilled the days, as they returned, the child Jesus tarried behind in Jerusalem, and Joseph and his mother knew not of it.
Right, so when they left, Jesus stayed behind. But mind you, keep in mind, he's 12 years old. Keep going.
But they, supposing him to have been in the company, went a day's journey, and they saw him among their kinfolk and acquaintance. And when they found him not, they turned back again to Jerusalem, seeking him. And it came to pass that after 3 days they found him in the temple.
They found him in the temple. Go ahead.
Sitting in the midst of the doctors, both hearing them and asking them questions.
So he say he's sitting amongst doctors. These are people that know something, professionals, both hearing them and asking them questions. Go ahead.
And all that heard him were astonished at his understanding and answers.
And it says, and all that heard him was astonished at his what? His understanding and answers. But this is him at the age of 12. So 13, 14, 15, like you couldn't even write just as much as stuff that was going on with Jesus. That's why going back to John chapter 21, and one of the questions, you said explain 18 and 25. I'm just dealing with 25 right now. The verse says, and there were so many other things which Jesus did, the which, if they should be written every one, I suppose that even the world itself could not contain the books that should be written. You probably wouldn't even have enough paper dealing with what Jesus was doing. You know what I'm saying? Like we just read a little bit when he was 12, how he was dealing with doctors and asking them questions, and even then it says here, going back to Luke 2, it says, and all that heard him was astonished, verse 47, and all that heard him were astonished at his understanding and answers. So he understood exactly what they were saying, and he was understanding it. So his wisdom was just, we talking at the age of 12. So they couldn't even contain the books to write about Jesus' whole life. But going back to, and that was verse 25, but going back to 18, it says, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, when thou wast young, thou girdest thyself and walkest whither thou wouldest. But when thou should be old, thou should stretch forth thy hand, and another should gird thee and carry thee whither thou wouldest not. And what I get from that is just saying, when you're young, you know, you can go ahead and move however you want to move, you know, but once you get older, you're going to need some help. That's what I get from that. That's why it says, verily, verily, I say unto thee, when thou was young, thou girdest thyself, and walkest whither thou wouldest. You went wherever you wanted to go when you was younger. But when thou should be old, thou should stretch forth thy hand to another should gird thee, and carry thee whither thou wouldest not. So you're going to be needing some help when you get older. But he was dealing with Peter here. And read verse 17. He kept asking Peter the same question over and over and over. And Peter was giving him the same answer. But read 17 again. I'm sorry.
He saith unto him the third time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? Peter was grieved because he said unto him the third time, Lovest thou me? And he said unto him, Lord, thou knowest all things. Thou knowest that I loveth thee. Jesus saith unto him, Feed my sheep.
Feed my sheep. So he constantly telling you, hey, go get my people. Feed my people. And I guess he's saying, hey, you're going to need some help. You ain't going to be able to do this on your own. You're going to need some help. But feed my sheep. But that's what I get from that. So I hope that helped out. That helped. What was that? Forever 14. But that's what I got from that. What's that?
I guess he's telling him to feed his sheep because he's going to get old. He ain't going to be able to do it no more.
Either you just ain't going to be able to do it by yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Younger, you was able to, you know.
Yeah, you young, you can move.
You can do it.
You can do it.
So, what was the question?
The question was, it was just explain John chapter 21, 18, and 25. Forever 14. So that was 2 online. You got anything in-house?
I can think of some.
That's what it's here for.
I got one real quick.
Go ahead.
When it comes to starting out teaching the word in Israel,
Okay.
what, you know, if you have, I know in the New Testament, I think Peter, it says that he who has a desire to teach desires a good thing, or desires, him who desires to become a preacher, something like that, desires a good thing. So I was just wondering, what does the Bible say about trying to become a teacher?
Okay.
Or how do you know if you're even, you know, called? You know, I know also Paul says that some are given different talents.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know if that's your calling? You know, do the elders, you know, kind of help you out with that?
Right.
You know, how does the initial thing come to you?
Let's go to the, because not everybody is apt to teach. You may be good at reading.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Let's go with the dealing with the talents, because everybody's talent is different. Let's go to Matthew chapter 25. So it all depends. You know, that's why we have platforms here, like Bible in Plainview. That's a platform we use for those who want to teach or want to read, or even want to whoever want to try to want to use want to be in the sound room. You know what I'm saying? So we got different platforms here. Cause actually we got Bible in Plainview tomorrow. We do a 30-minute class. You know what I'm saying? For those who want to teach. That's a good platform. But not everybody is apt to teach. You might, like I said, you might just want to read. But Matthew 25, and pick this up at 14. That's what you said?
I'm asking.
Yeah.
For the kingdom of heaven is as a man travailing into a far country, who called his own servants, and delivereth unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey. Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them other 5 talents. And likewise he that received 2, he also gained other 2. But he that had received 1 went and digged it in the earth, and hid his Lord's money. After a long time the Lord of those servants cometh, and reckoneth with them. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained.
Oh, thank you. Right, so just to cap off, he said unto one he gave 5 talents, and another 2, and another 1. To every man according to the several ability, and straightway took his journey. So whatever your ability is, you know what I mean? Like whatever you feel that you want to do. If you want to teach, you know what I mean? As far as being on being on this platform, because Israel as a nation, we a kingdom of priests as a nation anyway. You know what I mean? So you may feel the one-on-one might be your thing, instead of you being in front of a audience or a class teaching the word. You may be good on the one-on-one. But going back to us being a priest, we a nation priest anyway. But it's whatever you want to do. If you want to feel like you want to teach on a, in front of a congregation, like I said, we got platforms like Bible in Plainview that you might start off at, That's a good platform. But it's whatever your talent is. Maybe teaching, maybe reading. It's what you do with it. And that's what this parable is about. It's what you do with that talent. Verse 16 it says, then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them other 5 talents. So it's what you do with that. You may want to teach. It's going to take you. It's going to take a lot of studying. You're going to have to find the time to study, because you may have work, got family, so you're going to have to squeeze some time in to get that, to get some work in. Then you got Q&A. You learn from Q&A. So it's the YouTube videos. You watch YouTube videos to sharpen your sword, But it's what you do with that talent, is you're going to use it. Verse 17 it says, and likewise he that had received 2, he also gained other 2. So he gained 2 more. Verse 18, but he that had received 1, now we just got, he had to receive his 1 talent. Let's see what he did with that 1 talent. Read verse 18 again.
But he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth, and hid his Lord's money.
So he ain't do nothing with his talent, because he only had 1. He ain't do nothing with it. Keep going.
After a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh, and reckoneth with them. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord,
thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant.
Go ahead.
Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee a ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord.
Right, but that's the ultimate prize. It said his Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. Keep going.
He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord.
But this is one who just had 2. Keep going.
Then he which had received the 1 talent
Now,
came
he
and
just
said,
got one talent. Now, he may feel like he couldn't do nothing with that talent. But you got to do something with it. You just can't be like, well, I only just got 1, or I'm just a reader. But yet still, nobody can count on you to read. You ain't never here on time. But you want to be a reader. You know what I mean? If you want to be a reader, you should be here on class early. Hey, Nate, hey, can I read? Nah, I got somebody. All right. But yet, next Sabbath, hey, Nate, can I read? Nah, I got somebody. I got somebody. All right. But then the next, Nate, can I read? Yeah, I got you. But you always ready. You're going to read, But you can't talk about you want to be a reader, but yet you never offering your services. But you want to read. You want to do something. So now here, this one right here, who had 1 talent, what do you do with his? Verse 24.
Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid, and went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that is thine. His Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant.
Oh, you wicked and lazy. That's what he said. He says, Thou wicked and slothful servant. Go ahead.
Thou knewest that I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have not strawed. Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money into the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received my own with usury.
Right. In other words, like, you ain't even try. You didn't even try to do anything with your talent. You just hid it. Didn't even try. But what the Lord gonna do with that 1 talent of his?
Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which have 10 talents.
Right, so the one that had 5 and gained 5 more, he went and gave it to him. So now he got 11 talents. But that's all because he had 1, he ain't want to do nothing with it. And that's just 1 talent. Something, you could have did something with that 1. Even if you could have did something with it to you probably wouldn't even got nothing back. But hey, the Lord probably would have had mercy on him, but hey, you tried. But he called him a wicked and slothful servant, right? Go ahead.
For unto every one that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that have not shall be taken away even that which he hath. And cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
It says, and cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. That's lake of fire. So it's what you want to do. If you want to teach, or if you want to read, you want to, anything that's in the body. Where's that switch at? Because there's many instruments of the body.
What was the question?
Question.
Go ahead. Well, just becoming a teacher. You know, people got many different gifts. How do you know if your gift is teaching? You know, how do you exercise it? And you know, and also I asked about just how do you know? Do elders have a play in it? Things like that.
You really don't know. The reason I asked because I was getting a text from a brother. I was getting a text from a brother regarding Romans chapter 12. I wasn't in here, so I don't know. That's why I was asking what was the question. But go to Romans 12 right quick. Let's see something. Romans 12 and 4. This mic loud. Romans 12. Verse 4. Read that, please.
For as we have many members in one body, and all members have not the same office, so we, being many, are in one body in Christ, and every one member one of another, having then gifts differing according to the grace that is given to us. Whether prophecy, let us prophesy according to the proportion of faith, or ministry, let us wait on our ministry.
Okay, so we make up different we have different positions inside the body. You know what I'm saying? But like you say here, you know, like for instance, like Joe been saying, maybe your job to be a reader, you know what I'm saying? And you know, for the most part, Israel as a whole are teachers, but when it comes inside this body doing a certain job, everybody ain't the priest, you know what I'm saying? Everybody wasn't Levi. Everybody wasn't ministering the services, you know what I'm saying? So certain people did that. Just like now, today everybody don't preach, right? But as far as knowing, it's just something in you, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, it's something in you where you gonna know. Now, you know this what you want to do. You feel what I'm saying? Like it ain't really no order, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no politics and nothing like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like for instance, here, we open up a platform for the Bible in Plainview, you know what I'm saying? And to give yourself a shot. Like, you feel like this what you want to do? Hey, man, come on, get some practice, you know what I'm saying? And go ahead and perfect that craft, you know what I'm saying? But, like, for myself, man, you know, I was in the streets hitting it, you know what I'm saying? Me and Brother DeMarcus, that's how I met DeMarcus. He met me out there preaching in the streets, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't, there wasn't nobody that called me up and was like, Nate, you know, hey man, we giving you permission to go out. I just went out because I felt like I needed to get this word out, you get what I'm saying? I feel like I needed to scream this from the mountaintop, you get what I'm saying? So the Lord put that on me, you know, and I didn't force it or nothing like that. We got over to Israel of God, you know, and we was when we got there, I kind of chilled a little bit. You know, I listened to the brothers. I thought Dewell was great. You know, at that time, I thought Habakkuk, one of my favorite teachers. I was like, yeah, I like him a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because he actually teach. He'll sit down and like break things down like science-wise. You know what I'm saying? In addition to all other great teachers that I really looked up to. You know what I'm saying? So I just kind of sat back and just, you know, I said to myself, you know what I'm saying, I can learn from these guys, you know what I'm saying? I didn't force the issue because, like, later on in that Romans 12, it said, wait on your ministry, right? So I could have been like, hey, man, y'all need to let me preach, you know what I'm saying? I want to do this. I ain't do that. I just kept hitting the streets, man. I stayed out in the streets and, you know, we did a video, which I hadn't planned on it, but we did a video called Hebrew Israelites Going to the Sunday Church and Lay the Smackdown. That was one of the college kids that was going with us. He titled it that, and it blew up. I think the day I checked it, that thing got like 105,000 hits between 2 pages, and it got back to some of the people at the church. And brothers was coming up to me like, man, Brother Nate, boy, you can teach, boy. I was like, nah, I'm just regular, I can't teach. They was like, nah, man, you got it, boy, you can teach. You know what I'm saying? So I just kept doing it. Eventually, stopped going to Israel of God. Got to the house at Israel of God, when we left Israel of God, and I figured, I said to myself, well, we can't just sit here. We got to do something. You know what I'm saying? So before we had left IOG, it was me and a few brothers that used to come to my house and we would put lessons together like we was having a rap battle. Like we can go to Nate house, you know, like they have, you know, rap sessions and stuff. Well, we had preacher sessions. We could see, you know, who put together the best classes. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do at my house. So we was practicing, you know what I'm saying? And when I left Israel of God, man, at the house, man, the Lord just kind of like threw me into it. Like, because I was like, well, dang, we can't just sit up here and not do nothing. So I was throughout the week, man, I was putting classes together. Ain't know what in the world I was talking about. I go back now and look at them, I'm like, man, what in the world? I ain't know what I was talking about. I was just trying, you know what I'm saying? So waiting on you on your ministry ain't saying wait for a man to say it's your time. Because some people like to use that. Like I know a brother specifically was told, well, wait on your ministry. Like for instance, like in other words, wait till we tell you it's time. Nah, that ain't how it go. When the Lord says time, it's time. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, go to first Titus. I think Titus or 1 Timothy 3, if I'm mistaken. But, you know, like I said, I did it in the house. I was doing it. Next thing you know, Brother Elijah, he reached out to me. He saw some class on YouTube. He was like, I guess him and JD had been watching and kind of scoping me out for a while. And they was like, yeah, he going to be good. We need to grab him. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't have to say nothing. I was just at the house. I was like, you know what? I'm going to teach the gospel. I don't care. I don't care if it's only like 8 of us. My 5 and DeMarcus 3. I was like, well, I'm going to put classes together as if we dealing with a big church. And them brothers that saw me, and they was like, man, we want to, you know, we're going to bring you in. And that's how I came to ICOJ. You know what I'm saying? But I was doing what I desired to do. You get what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to do this. It wasn't like nobody came to me and said, and that's what I'm saying. Like, the Lord, you'll know because you'll have that desire inside of you. What is saying, 1 Timothy 3, if I'm mistaken?
Talks about, like, the bishop.
That's it. Yeah, what is that?
That's Titus.
What I say right there? What I say right? Read that.
For a bishop must be blameless?
Yeah.
What I say?
This is a true saying. If a man desire the office of a bishop.
That's my point right there. If a man what?
Desire the office.
Desire the office of a bishop, right? So now you're gonna see some of the characteristics, right? That needs to be done. Cause look, you can have that desire. You get what I'm saying? Like you can want to be a preacher. Ain't nothing wrong with that, is it? He said if a man have a desire to be a bishop, what?
He desires a good work.
You desire good work, man. You desire good work. But all you have to do is know if that's what you desire. Like that's what you desire? Don't you desire? Yep. All right, so we're gonna help nurture that. You get what I'm saying? Like that's how it's gonna be. Because remember the Lord said the harvest is plenty, right? But the labors are few. Like we need work in the body, period. We need helpers in the body, period. And the majority of that is preaching His gospel. You see what I'm saying? So you just got to perfect your craft. That's what you want to do. That's your desire. And hey, you know what I'm saying? Like we'll help you with that. But it ain't like it ain't necessarily like, you know, well, you got to fit a certain criteria. This is the criteria. I'm saying nothing that we gonna make up. No politics involved. Like some people say, well, you got to be in the word 5 years. Where you read that at? You know what I'm saying? Like, bruh, like, you know, we try to, like I said, we try to keep it around the age, you know what I'm saying, like to try, because it does show a lot of maturity around that time. But at the same time, you know, like if you in the book, bruh, and you in there reading, you studying, you know what I'm saying, you putting in a whole lot of time, bruh, and we need some help, like, get on board, you know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't finna be, like, bruh, first off, the 5 years that we have today is not like the 5 years they had 10 years ago. I mean, well, 20 years ago. 5 years they had back then and 10 years they had back then were actually 5 and 10 years to learn because they didn't have YouTube. You couldn't go online and watch classes and eat all day long like you can now. So it's like it cut that time in half. You know, but we ain't doing no politics. You know what I'm saying? Like we ain't doing no politics. What else to say?
Verse 2.
Uh-huh.
A bishop then must be blameless.
So this is what the Lord is setting out here, right? By way of Paul. He said a bishop then must be blameless. What else?
The husband of one wife.
Husband of one wife. Keep reading. This is a good way to have it, right? Husband of one wife.
So he has to be married. He has to be married.
No. Go ahead and read, man. What it say?
Vigilant, sober.
Was Paul married?
I don't know.
Paul wasn't married. But go ahead. He say a bishop must be what now?
Vigilant,
He's
sober.
just saying not two. That's all. You know what I'm saying? Don't have two. You know what I'm saying? He say a bishop must be blamed. His husband and one wife. Keep reading.
Vigilant, sober.
All right, so you're gonna be vigilant. You're gonna be sober. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't gonna be all over the place. First off, go ahead and read. What else?
Of good behavior.
Good behavior. Go ahead.
Given to hospitality. Apt to teach.
Giving the hospitality, able to teach. Go ahead.
Not given to wine.
Not giving the wine them now. Man, I didn't say you can't drink wine, but you ain't overtaken by that. So we're looking at the qualities. You fit these qualities, right? Go ahead and read. What else?
No striker.
No striker. You ain't always in brawling and getting in fights and all that type of stuff. That don't come with your character. As a bishop, this is what he talking about. Go ahead and read. What else?
Not greedy or of filthy lucre.
Right. So you ain't doing it for money. Keep reading.
But patient. Not a brawler.
So you got to be patient. Not a brawler. What else?
Not covetous.
Not covenant. That's why I wasn't really ready to do this a few years back. A lot of people tell you they weren't ready, man. My attitude, it was terrible. It was really terrible. I ain't care. You know what I'm saying? But the Lord had to soften me up. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't deal with God's people in the type of way. He said you can't be a striker, you can't be a brawler. What else?
Not covetous.
Not covetous. Go ahead.
One that ruleth well his own house.
Look at this, but we're looking at these certain qualities, right? One that ruled well his own house. Go ahead.
Having his children in subjection.
So even having your children in subjection. What else?
With all gravity.
With all gravity. Keep reading.
For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God?
How you gonna do it? You know. But your desire that's gonna be that's gonna be the start of it right there. Like if you desire it, okay, well we gonna help nurture that. You know what I'm saying? Like we gonna help you do what you gotta do, man. Wherever you at, you can be down in Valdosta. We don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like we gonna the point is we gotta get this word out. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's why we do the Bible in plain view so people can kind of get comfortable with teaching His word. You know what I'm saying? Get comfortable with sitting up there teaching His word of God. And then getting ready to stand before the people. Because when you stand up there, it's a different ball game. You know what I'm saying? But that's what Bible and plain view prepare you for. You know, so as long as you got that desire, man, you're all right. And then with that right there, like he said, and you know if you slacking, you know if God gave you a desire to do something, you ain't doing it. You know what I'm saying? You know, like Jonah. You know that though. We don't know that. You know what God has put in you. You know what I'm saying? Just like I knew. I knew, I got to get out and preach, man. It wasn't no normal talking with me, though. It was preaching. I was in the streets preaching the gospel, yelling it from the top of my lungs. But people was coming to hear. You get what I'm saying? It was preaching. And I knew God put that on me. Ain't nobody else know it. They just saw the passion. You get what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. You know what God put on you, man. Can't nobody take that from you. You know, we just help you get to where you need to go. And that's get in His word and preach His gospel, man. So. But don't let the talent go to waste.
Praise the Lord. Don't let it go to waste. That was, we got another one in the house?
Yeah, I had a question about the lady at the well, and Jesus said, she said, bring your husband. He said, told her to bring her husband. She said, I'm not married. He said, yes, you are. He had 5 husbands. So were they betrothed to her, or was just saying that, because you say you can't really, you're not married unless you control somebody to be your wife or whatever. So Jesus said it, told her to, she had 5 husbands. So all of them patrolled? I was trying to see how he came about with that.
Yeah, that's a good question. Oh, man. Yes. Let's read it. John 4. John 4, and you say was she married to these men?
He said I don't have a husband. And he said
Right.
You have 4, 5, something like that.
Mm-hmm. You gonna read it? You gonna read it? Start at
14. 13.
11.
Yeah.
The woman saith unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou that living water? Art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well, and drank thereof himself, and his children, and his cattle? Jesus answered and said unto her, Whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. The
Right, so
woman,
here's Jesus talking to this woman, and he trying to get her some of this living water, but she can't get past the physical. So she steady still, hey, I don't have enough. What she say? The woman saith unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with. But the first, matter of fact, let's back it up a little bit more.
Okay.
Start at 9. Start at verse 9. Now 7. I'm sorry.
there cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water. Jesus saith unto her, Give me to drink. For his disciples were gone away unto the city to buy meat. Then saith the woman of Samaria unto him, How is it that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? The Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans.
Right, so we see that. The Jews ain't had no dealings with the Samaritans. Keep going.
Jesus answered and said unto her, If thou knewest the gift of God,
If you know it's the gift of God, go ahead.
and who it is that saith to thee, Give me to drink, thou wouldst have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water.
Right, go ahead.
The woman saith unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou the living water?
And she can't even get past the physical and don't realize that, hey, Jesus, he's trying to give you much more than this living water. But she still can't get past the physical. She asking, hey, you don't even have nothing to draw with. And the well is deep. From whence hast thou that living water? Verse 12.
Art thou greater than our father Jacob,
Are you greater than our father Jacob? Go ahead.
which gave us the well, and drank thereof
Now, she
himself?
just said that the Jews ain't had no dealings with Samaritans. But yet she turned around and said, Art thou greater than our father Jacob? Keep going.
And his children, and his cattle? Jesus answered and said unto her, Whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again.
You will thirst again if you drink from this water from the well. Keep going.
But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him
But if you
shall
drink
never
from
thirst.
me, go ahead.
Shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water, springing up into everlasting life.
Right. That water that you're going to get out that well, you're going to thirst again. But the water that I'm going to give you, it's going to spring up into everlasting life. Keep going. That's the water we should all be wanting. Go ahead.
The woman saith unto him, Sir, give me this water, that I thirst not, neither come hither to draw. Jesus saith unto her, Go, call thy husband, and come hither.
Yeah, so before you can go ahead and get this water, go call your husband. He said, go call thy husband and come hither. Keep going.
The woman answered and said, I have no husband.
He said, I have no husband.
Jesus said unto her, Thou hast well said, I have no husband.
Yeah, you well said you have no husband, but guess what?
For thou hast had 5 husbands,
Oh, but you has had 5 husbands. Keep going.
and he whom thou now hast is not thy husband. In that says thou truly. The woman saith unto him, Sir, I perceive that thou art a prophet.
Oh, now I perceive you to be a prophet. Because he said, for thou hast had 5, you have 5 husbands. And he whom thou now hast is not even your husband. And that said, yeah, it's true that you said, yeah, you don't have a husband. Because that one that you have ain't even yours. And then she got, then it popped up in her mind. It was like, hey, sir, I perceive that thou a prophet. But you just saw it. You saw it all. So what was your what was you?
Okay, the way I read it, it was like, you want to come to the mic?
Yeah.
Okay, the way you read it now, when he read it, it makes a little bit more sense to how it was read. It was where I was reading it. It would seem like she wasn't, she was just playing the fields.
Oh, okay.
But she was actually married to these guys and then don't have them anymore. Is that where it is?
Right, because it says you has had 5
right.
husbands.
See, that's why I got that word there.
And he whom thou had, it says, and he whom thou now has is not thy husband.
Right. So now I understand it now. I got it.
Oh, you thought she was married to all of them at the same time?
Well, I thought she was like playing the field.
So she had a husband and he died, a husband and he died, and a husband and he died, a husband and he died.
That's what I thought.
That's what we get, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
Or they just gave her a written
A
divorce?
divorce, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. They gave her a divorce.
Well, that's to let you know, you can't get nothing past Jesus. He called her out after he didn't offer her some living water. And she lied.
No, he said that's true what you said.
Nah, but when she was like,
have a husband.
in verse 16, it says, Jesus said unto her, Go and call thy husband and come hither. And the woman answered and said, I have no husband.
She said, I have no husband.
She didn't have a husband.
Oh, but then again, you right.
Yeah, he said what you
said.
Right. He said, in that said is thou true.
Right. Yeah, he just called her out. Okay, so that was 2 in. You go 2 online. Sean bump pass. Hebrews 1:8. But unto the Son he said, Thy throne, O God, is a forever and ever scepter of righteousness, is the scepter of thy kingdom. Is this speaking of Jesus? Yes, sir. Yes, it is. Do we still gotta read it?
What was the question?
The question was, let's read it. Verse Hebrews 1. Hebrews 1. Was this talking about Jesus? Hebrews 1, and then we're going to go to Psalms. See where they got it from. Hebrews 1:8. Go ahead, brother.
Holding fast the faithful word as he have been taught, that he may be able by sound doctrine both to exhort and to convince the gainsayers.
Hebrews chapter 1 and verse 8.
But unto the Son he said, Thy throne, O God, is forever and ever, and a scepter of righteousness is the scepter of thy kingdom. Thou hast loved righteousness and hated iniquity. Therefore God, even thy God, hath anointed thee with oil of gladness above thy fellows. And thou, Lord, in the beginning, hast laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the works of thine hands. They shall perish.
That's it on that. But yeah, that's talking about Jesus. But let's go to Psalms 45. Psalm chapter 45. Let's see where they got this from. Psalms 45 and pick it up at verse 6.
Thy throne, O God, is forever and ever. The scepter of thy kingdom is a right scepter. Thou lovest righteousness and hatest wickedness. Therefore, God, thy God, hath anointed thee with the oil of gladness above thy fellows.
Mm-hmm. Got the same thing. But yup, that's talking about Jesus. Huh? The question was, he quoted the scripture in Hebrews 1 and 8, but unto thy son he saith, thy God, O God, is forever and ever. Scepter of the righteousness is the scepter of the kingdom. Is this speaking of Jesus?
I think Jordan Washington is here. Jordan was at the door. I think she was way by.
They must be trying to leave.
Yeah.
Any comment on that, Brother Nick?
What?
That Hebrews 1 and 8.
What you said? I ain't want to listen.
Oh, I said it was talking about Jesus, and I took him to Psalms 45.
Oh, God. Back of scripture.
Yeah.
Check it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you said keep reading the 13.
Brother Harvey.
Hold on, wait a minute. What's the question?
Is this speaking of Jesus?
What verse?
8.
It's verse 8 speaking of Jesus. It's second. Right. Let's see here. All right, y'all give me a second. It's verse 8 speaking of Jesus. Yeah, it says, but unto the Son he say, thy throne, O God, is forever and ever. A scepter of righteousness is the scepter of thy kingdom. So verse 13, that won't have nothing to do with this. The question is am I right? Read the question to me.
Is this speaking of Jesus?
That's what I say, Hebrews 1 and 13.
Nah, 1 and 8.
Oh, I'm sorry, 1 and 8. It says, 1 and 8, but unto the Son he say, thy throne, O God, is forever and ever. The scepter of righteousness is the scepter of thy kingdom. He talking about Jesus. Brother T, he hit me up with verse 13. No, that don't got to do with verse 8 though. Verse 8 is talking about Jesus. He didn't say that to any of the angels.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But in verse 8, he said that to Jesus. Yeah, 13. I'm trying to get at what he's trying to lean toward. But yeah, 8 talking about Jesus. Yeah, damn
right. Forever 14. Where is written, be forward with the forward, and peace with peace? Correct me, please. Be forward with the forward.
Did anybody ask about sitting on the throne?
Uh-uh.
Well, unto the Son, he say that throne of God's battle and battle. That's what it is. You saw the next one?
Yeah. Trying to.
Psalm 18.
That's what I'm about to head to right now. 1826. Forward with thyself forward.
Probably what? Who said probably what?
Psalms 18.
Psalms 18. 18 and 26.
You get that, Joe?
Uh-uh.
All right, okay.
Where, in that Psalms 18?
Yeah. So you have to read above first. You would have to read verse 24 to 26, and then it'll make sense.
You said, from where?
24.
24? Go ahead, brother. You got Psalms 18?
Yep.
Okay, start at 24.
Therefore hath the Lord recompensed me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands in his eyesight. With the merciful thou wilt show thyself merciful. With the upright man thou wilt show thyself upright. With the pure thou wilt show thyself pure. And with the forward thou shalt show thyself forward. For thou wilt save the afflicted people, but wilt bring down the high looks. For thou wilt light my candle. The Lord my God will enlighten my darkness.
Okay. So, with the pure, thou wilt show thyself pure. And with the forward, thou wilt show thyself forward. What I'm supposed to be. Because it's, yeah.
Okay.
Therefore has the Lord recompensed me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my of my hands in his eyesight.
Okay. Explain that, please.
Okay, therefore the Lord recompense me according to the right of my righteousness. So he redeemed me according to my righteousness. According to the cleanness of my hands. He kept his hands clean in his sight, so he didn't walk in according to the word of God.
No, that's
No?
not what that's talking about. Now, what you're saying is right, but what is this? Don't do too much. Just take your time now. And explain to people what it's talking about in verse 24. Y'all want to help him out? Y'all help out? Help out?
He saved.
Comment? Huh?
He saved me according to my righteousness.
Mm-hmm.
Then it says according to the cleanness of my hands
Uh-huh.
and his eyesight.
His eyesight, right?
And his eyesight.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So who we talking about?
The Lord.
Talking about the Lord.
So now he's changed into, he's got the everlasting, he's like changed. He's, now he's judging these people in a sense.
Right, but
Basically, when I read it, could be wrong. It's just the Lord bout whatever you bout. If you come in,
okay.
if you pure, He gonna deal with your impureness. If you X, Y, Z down the line, you come forward, you gonna get dealt with accordingly.
Right. Where
and
is this from? This is from another scripture.
right. It's what the question was about is about verse 26. But in order for you to understand 26, you're gonna have to come up to verse 24. Because you will see it's talking about the Lord, right?
Right.
Now, if you start up there, like he said, the Lord is about what you bout. But how do you find out that this is the Lord that's talking? Based on verse 24. Read that again, Brother Rashad.
Therefore have the Lord recompensed me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands in his eyesight.
Uh-huh. You pass it the button. So what were you saying, Rashad?
I was just saying, like, I thought it was the Lord transforming somebody and making him judge these people, and they would have to serve God, and they wasn't serving God, then he was going to deal with them. So I was on a whole nother left field, I can't take credit for that.
Thanks for sharing that with us.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's good. I opened it up for comments, so hey, we all trying, right?
Yes, sir.
We all trying. So that's a good try, man. So he say, so we see that's the Lord that's talking, right?
Uh-huh.
And that's what like he said, it's like the Lord about what you about. If you gonna be, because in verse 24 he said he'll recompense me according to my righteousness, right? So based on the amount of righteousness you put out, he's gonna reward you according to that, right? According to the cleanness of my hands and his eyesight. Excuse me, what else to say in verse 25?
With the merciful, thou wilt show thyself merciful.
You say, with the merciful, thou wilt show thyself merciful, right? Who gonna do this?
The Lord.
The Lord. Go ahead and read. What else?
With an upright man, thou wilt show thyself upright.
Uh-huh. Keep reading.
With the pure, thou wilt show thyself pure.
That's right. So with the pure, the Lord gonna show himself pure. Then what he say in verse 26?
And with the forward, thou wilt show thyself forward.
Right. So if you hard to get along with, hey, the Lord gonna be hard to get along with too.
Right.
When it come to you. You see, so.
I guess you would know that if you read 27. You would have figured it out if you would have read 27. Dang.
All right. We did 2 online, 2 in-house. Who, me?
Did you get a text message like this?
What's that? Did I receive something like that?
Yeah. Some random number text me 386 number 235. It said grace and peace and mercy, Jesus the Christ, Holy Sabbath. Israel. Question is, when did the self-conscious of being who is a Hebrew Israelite teaching? Was it with Henry Bowie, Daniel Ashford? So who taught them there in their 70s, plus 70s? So what about before was the darkness? Was anyone aware? Peace in Jesus Christ. So I guess they're asking who taught Bowie and all those people?
I just received that. That's from Brother Judah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what the number was.
Brother Judah. I used to he on the call.
Okay.
Used to go to Jacksonville.
Okay.
What you got on that, Brother Nate?
We don't know. What is it matter?
Oh no, that was a question.
I think Brother Stern, Judah. I think that's where Bowie was under him, and also Brother Dan, if I'm mistaken. They both was under Brother Stern. But as far as darkness, now I don't think everybody was completely dark. Not according to Romans. Yeah, I don't think they was completely dark based on. I don't think the world was completely in darkness because the Lord, always keep a remnant around. You know what I'm saying? So they have been teaching it for some time, but as far as they teachers, I think that's where it come from. Other than that, we don't know. You would have to call 1-800-96 Bible. That'll get you right to Bowie.
Save his number. I didn't know who that was.
You got anything in the house?
When Jesus said all the sons came and Satan, the devil, I was trying to see where did they come? Did they go to heaven or where? Where did they have that meeting?
I'm sorry.
Job, that way, when he said when all the sons came and Satan the devil, where did they came to?
Oh, and Job.
Was it in heaven? Because he said I don't think the devil would go back to heaven. Would he let him go back there for? Because he had to give a report too. So I'm trying to see where.
You got to report, yeah. They ain't going to live. He's just going to report.
Oh, he's just going to report.
Let's go to Job. Job chapter 1. And pick it up at verse 6.
Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil?
Yeah, that's it on that. It says, Now therefore, was the day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, when comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and from in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. So yeah, they presented themselves before the Lord. Read, go to chapter 2. Verse 1.
Again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord. And the Lord said unto Satan, From whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord, and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord...
That's good. But I like how it said in chapter 2, it says, again. So it said again, and there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. So you can tell this is another time.
Yeah. Yeah, mine's still not always fine. You can kind of give a brief analysis on it. You can pick it up at that verse 22.
Pick it up at 19.
And he said, Hear thou, therefore, the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left. And the Lord said, Who shall persuade Ahab, and he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this matter, and another said on that matter. And there came forth a spirit, and stood before the Lord, and said, I will persuade him. And the Lord said unto him, Wherewith? And he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, Thou shalt persuade him, and prevail also. Go forth, and do so.
Right. So here's the spirit. They was asking, well, who gonna be a lying spirit? It says, and he said unto him, Hear thou therefore the word of the Lord. And saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the hosts of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left. And he said, Who shall persuade Ahab? Who gonna persuade Ahab to go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And he said in this on this matter, and another matter, and said that matter, and there came forth a spirit, and he stood before the Lord and said, I will persuade him. But he came and he stood before the Lord. And then he said, and the Lord said unto him, Wherewith? And he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, Thou shalt persuade him, and prevail also, go forth and do so. But still he had to go to the Lord. He had to present himself to the Lord. Mm-hmm. All right, Prime Henderson, Forever 14. Oh, Psalms 18, the whole scripture, but for is okay. water of life. Isaiah 16:4, Malachi 7:14. Will the wilderness, the church, flee to during great tribulation be the same wilderness the house of Israel will be brought to after great tribulation? Alright, Isaiah 16:4.
That Micah. That second place is Micah.
Yes. Yes, Micah 7,
Okay.
chapter 7:14. And yes, this question is: will the wilderness and the church flee to during great tribulation be the same wilderness the house of Israel will be brought to after great tribulation? It's the same wilderness. But since we got a lot of questions, still want to read this? Since we have a lot of questions, I still got to read. I answered the question. I said it's the same wilderness.
It is the same wilderness.
Yeah, but you still want to read it.
Yeah, since you answered, you need to back that up with a verse.
Yeah.
A verse or two.
What was the question?
Is it the same wilderness? The same wilderness that we flee to, it's the same one that hold on.
Let me help you out so we can knock this out because it's getting late. Go to Ezekiel chapter 20? 20, pick it up at verse 35, I believe. Just want to show you this is the same thing. We're not going to any other wilderness. It's only one wilderness that is known to Israel. So Ezekiel 20, pick it up at 33. Go ahead.
As I live, saith the Lord God, surely with a mighty hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with a fury poured out, will I rule over you, and will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered, with a mighty hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with a fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face.
You said it twice. He said with a fury. Where's that? Where the A at? I'm messing with you. Go ahead.
Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt.
Okay, so, but this the only one we going to, y'all. It's not gonna be a different wilderness. Like for instance, when the wilderness gonna blossom as a rose, you know what I'm saying? The desert gonna come back to life and all that. It's gonna start doing that before we get there, you know. And then by the time, you know, we're going to be in there 3.5 years and we're going to be taken care of. You know, however, later on down the line, after that 3.5 years is up, then that's where Israel come into, you know, the ones that are scattered. So he say, go and read. Well, read 35 at the top again.
And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people.
Okay, so he said, I'm going to bring you into the wilderness of the people. Like, it ain't no other wilderness, you know, outside of what we know. You know what I'm saying? Like, right there's Mount Sinai. Mount Sinai? Yeah, Mount Sinai. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Mount Sinai. Then going from there, we going right into Jerusalem. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to take that pit stop in that wilderness first. But that's where it's all going to be at right there. You know what I'm saying? Go to Isaiah chapter 35. Yes, 35. Isaiah 35, I believe it's going to be verse 8. Isaiah 35 and verse 8. Okay, you can go ahead and read that.
And an highway shall be there.
Now bring it up a little bit. Let's start up and read down. And this is going to be the last one for this evening. LGBT, I think that was a question. What did that question say, Joe, right quick?
how should a Christian feel about the LGBT community?
Uh-huh.
I have a friend who has LGBT friends because she believes even Jesus himself hung around sinners, and God said to love your neighbor as yourself.
Well, Jesus did hang around sinners. He hung, and he considered them sick though. So you can't be sick forever hanging around God. You understand? You're gonna have to be healed from that. And that's one thing we have to understand, that it's you deal with that in the world, but how good is your light if it's only shining around the light? You know, but that don't mean I'm finna be partners with you.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like, we're not finna have that. You know, like, I'm not gonna be cool with you and you some faggot. That's just what it is, a homosexual, whatever you want to call it. I'm not finna be cool with that because God ain't cool with that. But I'm gonna show you the love of God and show you a way out. That's just like today we looked at the curses, didn't we? But before we closed out the class, we showed you the way out of the curses. And that was to turn back to God. Well, likewise, you dealing with your sickness, your mental illness, we're gonna show you a way out. You know, we're not gonna condone what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So, but at the same time, like Paul said in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, around verse 9, you know, he said, as such were some of you. He listed off a whole lot of different things, even effeminate, listed that was in there, fornicators and adulterers. He said, look, they ain't gonna enter into the kingdom of God. Then he said, as such were some of you, right? Then he turned around and say, but ye are washed. You understand? So that was a problem. That's a sin. You shouldn't be carrying yourself in that manner. But at the same time, hey, God has an open door for everybody to come through, you know, and we're going to make sure we present it to you, but we're not going to condone that. You know, I don't have to hang with you to show you the word of God, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can preach to you, and you can go home and get yourself together. Then you start fellowshipping, and you become a new person. Then we walk the same path. But I'm not going to be in the word, and you coming over hanging out, and you still got them, you got to change. You definitely ain't finna pull me on your side. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we can't roll together. You know, but we not gonna shut the word off though, because you know clearly they sick. It's like we were sick out there, but some people, brothers was sick, sisters was sick, but they was sick with fornication though. You know what I'm saying? They was sick with stealing. You know, it's all signs of being sick and need to be healed, right? So likewise, they need to be healed as well. So you ain't gonna just turn them off, you know, because most of them, a lot of them, most of the time, came up in the church. And they turned because what they saw in the church, you know. You know, so when we have an opportunity to preach to them and get them out of, you get them out of, but you ain't got to hang with them like that. Like, nah, because you be condoning some of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want to get off into that, man. You're going to have to pick a side. If you can't do it, Lord, pick it for you. But let's go back to this question. I just wanted to hit that right quick before we finish this off. Start at verse 1, please.
The wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose.
So that's what's going to happen now. The wilderness is going to come back. He said the wilderness shall be glad for them, and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. So this wilderness, what wilderness are we talking about? The wilderness of the people. It's going to come back. Go ahead and read. What else?
It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall give unto it, and the excellency of Carmel and Sharon. They shall see the glory of the Lord and the excellency of our God. Strengthen ye the weak hands, and confirm the feeble knees. Say to them that are of a fearful heart, be strong, fear not. Behold, your God will come with vengeance, even God with a recompense. He will come and save you. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. Then shall the lame man leap as an hart, and the tongue of the dumb sing. For in the wilderness shall waters break out, and the streams in the desert and the parched ground shall become a pool, and a thirsty land spring of waters, and the habitation of dragons, where each lake shall be grass with reeds and rushes, and a highway shall be there.
But notice what's happening. The wilderness coming back to life, right? And like I said, a lot of this going to start coming back before we get there. Because it tells you in Revelation 12 that it's going to feed her there, and we're going to be nourished for a time. That's why you ain't got to worry about taking nothing to the wilderness. You just need to get to the wilderness. God gonna take care of all of that, you know. But we just have to get there. But even with that being said, like there's another place, I think Isaiah 16, if I'm mistaken, it talk about how like, you know, the ships of Tarshish gonna go back into action. She gonna play the harlot after 70 years, and she gonna go into higher, doing things for God's people. She gonna bring us our clothes and stuff like that. We're not gonna have to worry about nothing. You know, Israel as a whole, when they get to the wilderness, they gonna have to worry about nothing. God gonna make sure Israel is good. But like I said, before that gathering even take place, we gonna be straight also. That's why we ain't got to worry. You know, he said he gonna feed her there for 1,203 score days. But he said he gonna feed her. Like, he don't say how though. You know, but he gonna feed her there. Then he turn around and say she gonna be nourished for a time, times, and half a time, right? So we gonna be good from the face of the serpent. So we just got to get to the wilderness, you see. But he said, letting you know this wilderness gonna come back. That solitary place that nobody mess with right now, don't really pay attention to it. Hey, that thing gonna come back to life. The place where the dragons used to lay. Then after that's done, Israel as a whole, the nation gonna come out there to the wilderness. That's what we was reading in Ezekiel 20 and 33. They're gonna meet the Lord there, the wilderness of the people. And after they finish going up under that bond of the covenant, what's gonna happen? Verse 8.
And an highway shall be there, and a way, and it shall be called the way of holiness.
But it's gonna be a highway that's from there to Jerusalem. Because look, before you go into Jerusalem, you're gonna have to make a pit stop in the wilderness, just like Israel, right? They came out of Egypt. They could have walked into the promised land, but nope, the Lord made them hang around out there in that wilderness. But you're gonna have to get that sin up out of you first. You know, that's why you're gonna pass up under the bond of the covenant, and those that reject or rebel, he gonna kill them off in the wilderness. And once he finished with that after the 3.5 years, notice what he said. He said, and the highway gonna be there. It's gonna be a highway. It's like Highway 85, a Highway 285, but it's gonna be called the Highway of Holiness. He said, look, and a highway shall be there, and a way, and it shall be called the way of holiness. What?
The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for those, the wayfaring men, though fools shall not err therein.
That's right, because you ain't gonna slip off into Jerusalem like that. You know what I'm saying? That ain't gonna happen. Yeah. Matter of fact, go back to Ezekiel 20 right quick. Ezekiel 20, I think it's verse 36. It has been a great day. Praise the Lord. Great day, man. Lord is merciful. I ain't miss a beat either. When all the stuff was going, when Lord allow us, we ain't have to miss no beat, man. Ezekiel 20, what it say? Verse 36, is it? Okay, go ahead.
Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of
So he gonna plead with us just like he played with our fathers in the wilderness. Go ahead.
So will I plead with you, saith the Lord God, and I will cause you to pass under the rod.
He said, look, I'm gonna cause you to pass under the rod, and what else?
And I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. And I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgressed against me.
That's right. You ain't gonna, like I said, you ain't getting across the highway. Like he gonna kill y'all from that wilderness. He said, I'm gonna purge out from among you the rebels, because believe it or not, you still gonna have people that's trying to hold on to the ways of America, they big house and all that type of stuff, they cars and all that, still want to cook pig and eat that. Look, Lord gonna kill all that. Go to 1 Corinthians 6 right quick. Let's finish it right here. 1 Corinthians chapter 6. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, and pick this up at start at verse 9. Go ahead.
Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God? Be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters.
So look, he giving you an umbrella, right? He say, know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God. That's your umbrella, right? Then up under that, he gonna start laying out who we talking about. What he say?
Be not deceived, neither fornicators.
Fornicators ain't getting in. You know, this fornication gonna cover all types of sexual immorality. Look, you ain't getting in. You know, like somebody said, what about bestiality? Well, hey, this gonna fall upon the fornication. You ain't getting in. Go ahead and read. What else?
No idolaters.
No idolaters. You ain't getting in. Worshiping all these other gods. It's not gonna happen. You're not getting into the kingdom. What else he say?
No adulterers.
No adulterers. You're not getting into the kingdom. Keep reading.
No effeminate.
No effeminate. Hey, you ain't getting in there. You want to call yourself homosexual and all that type of stuff, or you just, you know, you's raised by your mom and you got them effeminate ways. And look, you need to switch that up. You need to go ahead and get that sugar out your tank. You know, you can be a man. You know, God don't make no mistakes. I don't care nobody say. God don't make no mistakes. That's just like that dude, Antoine Dotson? The one who was talking about hide your kids, hide your wife.
Oh.
You know, he came out. Now that brother done got my wife and a few kids, if I ain't mistaken. But he had started dealing with Hebrew Israelites. You know what I'm saying? They had went kind of, he said it was kind of going off. You know, I think he was dealing with IUIC. But he came out and changed his life. He still kind of got the little talking. You know, he been doing it so long. But he said he saw that wasn't what he's supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? So you can change, because you're not going to get into the kingdom like that. What else he say?
Nor abusers of themselves
with mankind. Yeah, you ain't getting in. It's not going to happen. You have to change your ways. So go to Revelation 3. And it's not that we want to bash people. God did come. He hung with sinners. You know what I'm saying? But he wasn't like, you know, he hung with sinners. He was, matter of fact, he was preaching to those sinners though. Like, that's a difference. Like, I'm not hanging with you because I like you as a friend. Look, he hanging with you because he trying to save you. He trying to get you to change your lifestyle. He offering you everlasting life. Just like the woman caught in adultery. Like, he showed us some mercy, didn't he? And that's what he came for. He came to show you grace and truth, man. So that's why he was hanging with them. Like, if you're a Pharisee or you somebody like these big preachers nowadays, like, God ain't coming to hang with you. Because you know it all. I can't tell you nothing. You know what I'm saying? But who I can tell something, I can tell the poor. I can tell the humble. You know what I'm saying? I can tell them something, so that's who I'm going to come roll with. That's why he was hanging with them. But then people listen to him, though. He preached to these people. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't coming out just hanging with people because he just thought they was cool. Like, I'm just going to hang with the hoe. Like, that ain't what the Lord did. Like, y'all got to excuse me. I meant harlot, or harlot. But they changed. They changed. Go ahead and read, man. What we Revelation 3, man. I think around verse 13. What did I say?
He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches, and unto the angel of the church of Laodiceans. Right. These things saith thee, Amen.
Go ahead.
Faithful and true. Witness the beginning of the creation of God. I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot.
Oh, but pay attention though, right? That's why you can't be rolling with you can't be in the word, and you Israel, and you serving the true and living God, and you want to hang with homosexuals and the LGBTQ community. Like, you can't do that, because that goes against what our God says. You get what I'm saying? So look, if you want to try to do that, then hey, he letting you know where you fall in line at. Read that verse again, brother.
I know thy works.
He said, look, I know your works. Go ahead.
That thou art neither cold nor hot.
But look at your works. He said, look, I see your behavior. You ain't cold or hot. You can't make your mind up what you want to do. Go ahead and read.
I would thou were cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth.
Right, so the Lord will spit you out of my mouth. Go to Revelation 22:14, and this is going to be it. He said, I'm going to spit you out of my mouth. Not saying that you homosexual and stuff, but look, your mindset you can't agree with that. You can't get in bed with that. You know, I understand, but we're not desperate. That's one thing we have to understand is being the priest of God as a nation. We're not desperate. Like, sometimes we find ourselves doing anything to try to bring people in. Man, you the doctor. Like, the doctor ain't got to go and knock on people's house and knock on people's door. You're sick. I need to heal you. Like, nah, you sick, you come to the doctor. And I'm going to prescribe you with what you need. And that's how we got to start looking at ourselves as the doctor. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you injure yourself, you go to the doctor, right? You ain't getting a phone call every day or somebody knocking on your door. Hey, my name is Dr. So-and-so, and so I just want to heal you because your arm is broke. Like, you don't get that. No, when you get sick or you get injured, you go to the doctor. So likewise, we the doctors of this word. You want this word, you come get us. We ain't got to get off into all y'all sin to appeal to the world. like to try to get them to serve our God. Like we got a messed up mentality about it. We don't understand that God has given us a gift. Like he gave us something that the whole world don't have. You know what I'm saying? So like I ain't gonna be throwing this out. Like back in the day I would, you know, but now I don't. Not to say that I don't want nobody to get it, but like you ain't finna just trample over this word. Like you need to sit down, you need to humble yourself, and you need to eat. Like we'll feed you, but you sit down and eat. Like we gonna feed you what God fed us. If you just sit down and humble yourself, but I ain't finna fight with you. I'm not gonna force feed you to eat this word. Like you just, like you know, you ever talk with somebody, get them the word, and then afterwards, like you just felt like, man, I'm just emotionally drained now. Like as you sitting here fighting with that person, I learned over years, man. I'm like, bro, I ain't finna fight with you. That's why I tell y'all can have them streets. I did. Hey, I put my time in. I ain't finna go out there and fight with them. I did what the Lord had me out there to do, and I learned how I'm supposed to learn, and you know, and that's what it's good for. But the younger generation, y'all need that. But the point is, like, man, there's a lot of times I left there like mentally drained. I'm talking about headaches. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got into a fight, but it's spiritually. Then you realize, like, man, bro, I'm not gonna be fighting with you over there. Either you gonna deal with the word or you ain't. And that's how we have to look at it. We don't have to put ourselves in these situations to try to get people to serve our God. That's what Jehovah's Witnesses do. You know, that's what the Crusaders do. You know what I'm saying? That's what Baptists do. That's what they do, all that stuff going around. Not to say we don't want to win souls, though. We want to win souls, but we don't have to beg you to get this word. When you tired of running, when you sick of God beating you up, hey, we'll sit down and spend time with you, and we'll give you this word. We'll feed you and bring you in. But I'm not finna just be throwing this word out there like that. And that's what y'all need to understand. You ain't got to throw this word out there to hang among LGBT community. We don't got to do that. We lowering ourselves. But what he's saying, Revelation 22 and 14.
Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life.
Keep reading.
And may enter in through the gates into the city.
Come on up, man. Give
For
us
without are dogs and sorcerers.
So he say, blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to enter into the city, right? For without, on the outside of the city are dogs, what else?
And sorcerers.
And sorcerers, keep reading.
And whoremongers.
And whoremongers, go ahead.
And murderers.
Dogs, we talking about false preachers. That's why he say right after that, he say sorcerers. You see what I'm saying? Because that's all almost in the same category. False preachers, sorcerers, whoremongers, what else?
And murderers.
Murderers, go ahead.
And idolaters.
And
whosoever loveth and maketh a lie.
And whosoever do what?
Loveth.
Love and what?
Maketh.
And make a lie. You might as well do that then, because you're going to hit the fire just like they are. So, that's it. Hope somebody got some understanding. And that's it for today. We're going to close out there. Don't shut off yet.
Admit you're sick. So you gotta admit you're sick.
Our Father which art in heaven,
Our Father which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done in earth,
Thy will be done on earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day
Give us this day
our daily bread,
our daily bread,
and forgive us of our debts,
and forgive us our debts,
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
For thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory,
and the glory,
forever.
forever.
Praise the Lord,
Praise the Lord,
for he is
for
good,
he is good,
and his mercy endures forever.
and his mercy endures forever.
Praise the Lord God of Israel,
Praise the Lord God of Israel,
for he is good,
for he is good,
and his mercy endures
and
forever.
his mercy endures forever.
In Jesus' name we pray,
In Jesus' name we pray.
the Holy One of
The
Israel,
Holy One of Israel,
the King of
the
kings,
King of kings,
and Lord of
the
lords,
Lord of lords,
the one true
the
God,
one true God,
and there is no other.
there is no other.
Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.